shack at. The bottles getting nifty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated public sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Okay, beautiful. Sorry, a little note from Jose. Happy Wednesday, November 23rd to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Really fun 3 days ahead. We have a huge card here today. 15 NHL games, 12 NBA games, and we picked out 10 of the highest profile NCAA games that we're going to cap. Darryl's going to join us for NBA, Daby Cab for NCAA basketball. Then tomorrow, there will be no Betting with the Bag. I'm going to be hosting all 3 of the NFL Thursday games. We've cashed 9 out of our last 10 bets live on our live streams. And the only one that we lost, we cashed out for 46%. And I can't wait. All day Thursday, I'm going to be boozing with you guys. And I want to stay hot live betting. And I've made 7 bets in NFL. And I haven't bet any. I came so close to betting the Patriots. So close. But it just didn't all correlate with how bad Minnesota looked last week. Although I'll probably take the Patriots in the Cappers contest. But whether or not I bet them pregame is a different story. By the way, the Cappers contest is right after this show here. Right after this show, we go right to the Cappers contest because the odds are already out at circa millions. Huge few days. And then Friday, we have another enormous card. We have a full NHL card again, a full NBA card. We're going to have Gogster joining us, Dutch Boy Fresh joining us. Very fun. And Bobano, of course. So extremely enjoyable, all of this. I love it. Love the opportunity here. I've capped hard the 15-game NHL card. I've made 5 bets, possible additions, and then NBA and college basketball is all set up, but we'll use our experts and you in the chat to help guide us through there. That's how we stand. That's how we stand. Happy Wednesday to all of you guys. Shout out to all the cappers joining us. Viper NB in the house. Verl Video says Devils, baby. You know, before capping the game, I was like, man, the Leafs will be fighting hard to see if they can stop this franchise record winning streak that could happen tonight if the Devils win their 14th straight game. But after capping it, I was like, how can you back these Toronto Maple Leafs without 3 defensemen? I mean, it's impossible for me to do it. And so I did move on the Devils -1 to win their 14th straight game. Can't wait to talk about that. Bama Boy in the house. There's Clint Stardy, Die Hard MMA podcast. Ronnie and Bergia, 6-2 in college hoops yesterday. College hoops have been very good. A couple totals I probably shouldn't have moved on. But 11-6 plus 4.4 units, plus 25.88%. I had a nice Friday with you guys, except in NCAA football. The New Mexico bet was poor. The first half of full game hurt me. It was 7-7 after the first quarter, and I was like, I'm going to be fucking right. But it was not. But NBA went 4-1, NCAA 4-2. So feeling good. NBA has been a tough start to the year, but I have a lot of hope. And there it is. There is Sladzy saying Leafs missing 3 defensemen. Jersey keeps the streak rolling. That's exactly what I came. That's the exact conclusion I came. I at first I was like, plus 125 isn't bad. Now it's like plus 115. No. You know how big this is for the Young Devils team? I mean, this means so much to them. Spenny Penny Bombs, RVD 420, Kadesh, the Sweaty Butcher. Yeah, Slash is trying to do. But man, I'm excited. One thing that I have that can fuel me through the 3 games is the Kraken. The Kraken is my gasolina. Danny Lopez ready to get to it. Also, we're running so hot, Slash. See, that's a big part of it. You start cashing like we've been catching on these live streams. You're like, fuck, let's do them all. Fuck, we'll go live. Serious business in the house. Okay. I hope you are. And I know that you mean live there. I hope you are. And there's Sweaty Butch said, World Cup is being so nice to me, breaking these games down just by the market and finding value. I wish I had more time. Canada plays at 2:00 today, and that's when the Cappers contest is on. I'm going to have people here at the house watching the game. I won't be, though. I'll be here with you guys. Slatsy wondering any thoughts on Canada, Belgium. I'm a little surprised that Canada's just plus 150 to draw or win. I thought we'd get a bigger number than that. Bo Jackson says the streak ends tonight. Well, it's possible. But anytime a team's missing 3 of the 6 defensemen that they start the year with, I want to fade them. Dan Kelly says, are you excited for your Costa Rican team right now? No, I'm not. I'm all Canada all the time. You watch Alphonso Davies play, you start drinking the juice. I'm drinking the juice. Rocco Rogers says, college hoops been rocking. And there's Rocco Rogers action. Let's copy and paste it. He's on Tech first half, full game. Auburn first half, Kansas first half, Tennessee full game. And looking at first half. There's Justin McElvey in the house, Sky Dragon, Rodney Barton, a great group. Let's grab this for Rocco Rogers above our college basketball. So just so you guys know, just to be excited, there's also, there's college games going on right now. They started at 11. We were going to do the Western Kentucky game 1:30. We've nixed that. So just to give you guys a heads up of what we're doing in college basketball, we're doing the 2:30. We're doing all Maui Invitational, Battle for Atlantis, all those games. So we're doing Texas Tech, Ohio State at 2:30, Dayton, Wisconsin at 2:30, 5 o'clock, Creighton, Arizona at 5 o'clock, BYU, USC at 6 o'clock. We're doing all the Fort Myers tip-off stuff, Georgia Tech, Marquette, night games, Georgia Tech, Marquette, Butler, Tennessee, LSU, Kansas State, Auburn, Northwestern, Utah, Mississippi State. And then we close the show with Arkansas, San Diego State. Rem, most looking at Minnesota, Winnipeg under 6. That's an interesting look. There's Chili Dog Dooley in the house. All right. Leonard Porsche says, happy Thanksgiving Eve, fellas. Swamped at work. Watch the replay later. Thank you for caring about that. There's DC Capper. Ready to get to work? Well, let's get to work. Like old times, our man, Mr. Ghost, has got a doctor's appointment. So like old times, it's just you and I in NHL. Let's get some fucking winners. Let's get some winners here. All right, we get started. Let me just set this all up. Oh, it's all set up already. I like it. And I've made 5 bets in NHL, all plus lines. That's including 2 -1s. Let's go. NHL. We should have had a huge... We didn't make any bets on Friday, but we should have had a huge Thursday. We didn't. We're down 3.27 units on the year. I expect to be in the black when this week is over. Maybe when this night is over. Let's go. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. St. Louis Blues 10-8, 5-4 on the road at the Buffalo Sabres 8-11, 4-6 at home. KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York. You see my boy Tage last night? 4 points. The figure skater Jeff Skinner even got 5 points. KeyBank Center, Craig Binnington. UP Luokinen, the best thing that happened to the Sabres is Eric Comrie getting hurt because management, I guess, had forced them to start Comrie, over. He's been the 3rd best goaltender in this Buffalo squad. Now, we don't know really how good Luokinen is. He's only played 1 game here in the NHL. Let's pull up his numbers in the A. I should have had that up here, and I apologize for that. Binnington is playing good hockey. I went off on Binnington. I went off on Besser. It seems like when I just lose my shit on one of these players, they start stepping up. And Binnington's been much, much better since I hammered him. I mean, it's pretty crazy what the Blues have done. They follow an 8-game losing streak with a 7-game winning streak. So let's talk about this second-round pick in the 2017 draft for Rochester Americans this year. He is 6-3 with a .898 save percentage, 3.07 goals against average. That's right along what he did last year with Rochester. Rochester, a middling team, look a little better this year. And he's been with Rochester now since 2018-19. So he came right over after being drafted. Yes, Dan Kelly, it's the old Vancouver Millionaires hockey team from back in the day. All right, there's DJ Big Boss in the house as well. Great to see you. Spenny Pennybomb says the Blues keep rolling. St. Louis power play at 22.9%, penalty killing at 72.7%. Penalty killing has been weak. Buffalo power play at 24.7%, penalty killing at 73%. Let's go into the line history here. The Sabres opened up at plus 146. They're now at plus 129. From a total perspective, it opened up at 6.5, slightly juiced to the over. It's still there. I don't know if we really need to discuss the cash in NHL. I mean, it's pretty simple when we see where the cash is, but some of these games are important. I think it's interesting here that 73% of tickets and 84% of cash is on the Blues. I guess I find that interesting. The Blues come off defeating the Ducks in back-to-back home games Saturday and Monday, 6-2 and 3-1 respectively. They started out the season missing defensemen Scott Prunovich and Marco Scandella. They're both expected to be out for the entire regular season. They've now added Torrey Krug and Robert Bortuzzo to that injury list. Both are day-to-day, but that's difficult overcoming that. Buffalo's on the second half of a back-to-back after snapping their 8-game losing streak with a 7-2 win at Montreal last night. And look, I don't want the Blues on the road against a Sabres team that got the monkey off their back, are going to start feeling more confident here. I can understand that people can sit back and say, I want the Blues. They're on a 7-game winning streak. They're going to make it 8. But this Sabres team is young, fast, exciting. That was a big weight on their shoulders. I mean, they were getting hammered in the press. I listened to Buffalo radio all day. And I don't want the Blues at this number. I don't want the Blues at this number. Diehard MMA says Sabres team total over, maybe. Why don't we just take a look at that Sabres team total right now? That's an interesting spot here. The total is at 6.5, which makes things a little tricky. But let's take a look at the team total right here for the Sabres. Yeah, even the over 3 is not at plus money. Although I do think they're going to get to 3. Rob Free, that's spectacular. Jesus, spectacular. Damon Santori, the Capper Show is today at 2 p.m. It's right after this show. Clint says Binnington's going to turn back into a pumpkin. We got to move quickly here. We have 15 games to break down. And I'm not going to get in the way of the St. Louis Blues winning streak. And I don't want them here. I think the Sabres are live. I think the Sabres are live after that big win last night in Montreal. They're on the second half of back-to-back, snapping their 8-game losing streak, 7-2 win in Montreal last night. So I'm not moving on. That's it. Blues, Sabres, no move for me. And Andrew saying Spain, Costa Rica 1-0. I do miss Costa Rica. But all is good. Move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Arizona Coyotes 6-9-2, 5-7-1 on the road at Carolina Hurricanes 10-5-4, 4-2-1 at home. Karel Vejmelka going up against Antti Raanta. Vejmelka has been good this year. This is a pretty soft defensive squad, and he's been good. He's a good goaltender. 3.23 goals against average, 909 save percentage. Those aren't great numbers. Antti Raanta doesn't have great numbers either. 3-2-2, 2.53 goals against average, 902 save percentage. Arizona's power play is strong. It's slipping a bit, and will continue to. 26.7% power play, 80.8% penalty killing. Nice special teams. Carolina power play at 14.3% and penalty killing at 78.8%. There are a couple teams here that we'll talk about today. Carolina Hurricanes being one of them, Edmonton Oilers being another, that have no depth scoring right now. None. And it's really affecting the squad. Let's go to the line history. I mean, how much can you expect? Nick just is playing spectacular. You got Aho still an elite top player. You got Svechnikov playing well. And then what? And that's the problem with the Hurricanes. You have Teuvo Teravainen out with an upper body injury. Andre Cachet is dealing with a concussion. He could return tonight. Not that he would help really with the offense, but no one else is scoring. We were waiting for Seth Jarvis to take the next step as a top player. He hasn't done that. Paul Stastny looks done out there. It's heartbreaking because I loved his dad, Peter, so much. It's heartbreaking watching Paul Stastny. And those of you who don't know, the great one wasn't the first NHLer. Gretzky wasn't the first NHLer to earn that nickname. That nickname was to Peter the Great, Peter Stastny, Slovakian, but he used to play for Czech. 109 points as a rookie, 139 points in his second year, scored over 100 points in 7 of his first 8 seasons, 1,239 points, 977 games. Got to play on a line with his brothers, Anton and Marion. But Paul Stastny looks a dunzo 0 goals, 4 assists in 19 games played, playing 11.35 a game. This team just has no depth, and it's going to hurt them. Arizona's coming in off their 4th straight loss, 4-3 in a shootout at Nashville Monday night. They're playing hard. Carolina comes in off their 3rd straight overtime loss. This one 4-3 at Winnipeg on Monday night. And we know what happens in overtime and in shootouts. The team with the most skill will win most of the time and will have a winning record in overtime. And that's just another sign that this team just doesn't have enough skill at this point. And I don't want them at this price. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Carolina opening up minus 354. They're now minus 366. You know that Rob Brindamore will have them fighting hard, but who wants them here? The over opened up juice to minus 113 to the over. It's now almost a pick 'em. I can understand that. I can understand. We know the way Carolina plays. I could see a low scoring game here. I really could. Why don't we just take a look at the cash flow here? There's just hundreds of tickets in for whatever reason in NHL. Maybe we shouldn't even bother looking at the cash flow. You know what? There's no game here on Sports Insights that has over 700 tickets. Do we really want a few hundred tickets kind of pushing us in any sort of direction? Probably not. Let's leave the tickets alone here. Obviously, I have a bit of a vividness or recency bias with when the Coyotes went to the New York Islanders. They played a team with a good penalty killing. I trust Vejmelka. The problem is, do you trust Antti Raanta? And I don't. That was Ilya Sorokin, trusting him, and that was a very low-scoring game. But Carolina plays low-scoring games. Let's just quickly go through Carolina's last few home games and see if this is worth betting the under 6, expecting Carolina to play tight. Let's move over here to Carolina, and here we go. So they play the Jets and the Wild on the road. They beat the Avalanche 3-2. That was on Friday. That was an under that I should have cashed. You knew that Carolina was going to try to slow down that offense. Then the Blackhawks game goes under. Another game against the Avs goes under. Their home game against the Oilers went over. The Leafs, it went under. Sabres, it went over. Caps, it went under. They're not putting up a bunch of goals. So before this 4-3 loss at Winnipeg, the Hurricanes had played 4 straight unders. And they'd been in unders in 6 of their last 7 games. Because that's what you're going to get from this team. And if the goal scoring wasn't so high this year, we wouldn't be getting a 6. This would have opened at 5.5. Okay. Well, we have decided this is my first edition. The under 6. In Arizona, Carolina. All right. Rob Free saying his parlay will be posted on Twitter soon. Says, come win with me. I'm hot as fish grease right now. I love that, Rob. Okay. Let's keep rolling. Next up, Spenny's saying they need to trade for Klingberg or Chikrin. Yeah, I still don't know how good Chikrin is on Arizona. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interesting. Andrew G says Jets benching Zach Wilson for week 12. Breaking news. Slatsy says Kane's last game versus the Jets, he had the under in the 6-3-0, 5 minutes left, and it's a loser. Unbelievable. That's okay. You're on the right side. Okay, let's roll on. That's my first edition, the under 6 in Arizona, Carolina. Let's move on to the Montreal Canadiens, Columbus Blue Jackets, Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Sammy Montembeault has been excellent. I also have Jonas Korpisalo as the goaltender for Columbus. Please let me know if that is not the case. I put these goaltenders in last night. Sammy Montembeault has been very good. 3-2-1, 2.83 goals against average, .915 save percentage. We know that he will be between the pipes because this is the second half of a back-to-back for the Habs, and Jake Allen looked awful last night. 7-2 loss. Why don't we go to a couple of things here? First off, probably the most important thing when we talk about this Columbus Blue Jackets team is their injury situation, and it's pretty ugly. You got Igor Chinnikov, a winger. He's day-to-day. Voracek could come back tonight. So could Merzlikins, really. Werenski is gone for the season. Line is gone for at least halfway through till next month. There's a lot of injuries facing this squad right now. So Montreal power play is at 16.1%, penalty killing at 79.4%. I have this Columbus team seems to be stepping up right now. And one of those losses that Montreal had was here at Columbus 6-4 last week. And I know a lot of you guys were on the Habs in that one. And for me, it just makes no sense to really fade the Blue Jackets at home. I don't think you're ever going to get a price on any team. I mean, the Habs were barely dogs in that game. For the Habs, you have Hoffman and Paul Byron out of the lineup for them. The Jackets coming off their third win in 4 games, 5-3 at home versus Florida. And, of course, this is game 5 of a 6-game homestand, and you know that I love that. Bo Jackson says bounce back spot for the Canadiens. You know, if the Habs hadn't have lost to Columbus just last – I mean, Columbus is playing better hockey than them. And Jenner is starting to play. Boone Jenner is starting to play the way I expected him to play all year. Slatsy says, only way I can look here is the over. Montembeault starting to look like a backup goalie again. Habs 0-6 in the last 6 meetings, over 7-3 last 10, and Habs on a back-to-back. I think the Habs will start slipping. And look, the Blue Jackets are playing good hockey. Let's take a look at the line history here and then make a decision and move on. The goal is to get to NBA at the top of the hour. So the Blue Jackets open up -112. They're now -118. I think that's a fair price for the Blue Jackets. I really do. Let's just take a look at what they're – because look at – if you want to know why we're fading the Leafs, and we'll get into that soon, but look at – I've got it still up. Giordano and Justin Hall, Liljegren and Sandin, Jordy Ben and Mac Hollowell. That's atrocious. Let's just take a look at what the Columbus Blue Jackets – also, not only their forward group, but also their defense right now. So they got Jenner back up at center with Nyquist and Goodrow. Chinnikov, we know, is probably out for tonight, but he's been playing with Sillinger and Bemstrom. Roslovic is on a tough spot here, trying to make that fix Wolanski and Kent Johnson lines succeed. Gurionov and Bjork, Christensen and Goodbranson. You have an angry Habs team. I guess I can't. I mean, it's Columbus or no bet. It's too bad that Montreal just lost to Columbus. Rocco says, love this over. Columbus keeps going at home, and even with Sam in, Habs just don't play D. Won't see them tightening in back-to-back. I am going to stay off. Going to stay off this game. It's Columbus or no bet. And I think just that angle that Montreal's already lost to them, they're angry off that 7-2 loss last night. But I think it's a fair number on Columbus. Clint's right back to the Cole Caulfield prop, streaky, and scores 2 and 1 in his last 2. I guess I stay off of it. Yeah. Do you ever want to back Columbus? But they're playing good hockey right now. 1-3-4. That was a big 5-3 win at home versus Florida. Now, Florida's not the team we remember. Columbus or no bet? It's too bad Montreal looked so bad last night. All right, let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, Nashville Predators at Detroit Red Wings. These Predators 9-8-2, 3-5 on the road. Red Wings 9-5-4, 5-2-2 at home. We're at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. UC Saros and Ville Husso up against each other. Saros 7-6-2, 3.06 goals against average, 905 save percentage. Husso 2.55 goals against average, 916 save percentage. Nashville power play at 17.3%. It's improving. Their penalty killing strong at 81.4%. We imagine that this power play is going to be in the low 20s with Yossi at the point. Yossi's had a tough start to the season. Detroit power play at 20.9%. Penalty killing at 79.6%. Predators coming off their 4th win in 5 games. 4-3 in the shootout at home versus Arizona. Their only loss over that span was 3-2 overtime loss versus Tampa. Red Wings come in off their 2nd straight win, 6-1 at Columbus on Saturday night. They're a rested group. They scored 13 goals over their last 2 games. This team is rolling. And Nashville coming off that homestand. I thought a lot about moving on Detroit here. Let's take a look at the line history. We have the Red Wings opening up at -106. That's where they are right now, which is a fair price. This total is due slightly to the over. It opened up at 6, by the way, and it jumped up to 6.5, came back to 6. You know, I think this is the problem. The Predators did not look good. They were probably not caring about finishing their homestand. I also think teams are sort of vulnerable at the end of a long homestand. They did not look good versus Arizona. And Detroit is live here. They got to be live here. Let's just go over Nashville's last 5 games here, because that's what scared me. I mean, if you think about it, if you're getting the Red Wings, who are 5-2-2 at home at this price, it's probably the right price. They've looked good. They're fresh. Why don't we just take a quick look at the cash? I think the cash can help a little bit in these games where there's not much of an odds difference. In the Columbus one, it's 50-50. Oh, no, it's 58% of the tickets are on Columbus, which I agree with. And then here in this one, Nashville, Detroit, you have 47% of the tickets, 70% of cash on Nashville, but it's just 340 tickets in. Clint said the Preds lost to the Yotes. The only reason they won was the officials. Nasty Nate in the house. Spenny likes Detroit here. Rocco says wing spot. I do like the way the Wings are playing. I haven't played since Saturday. Let's just take one last look at what the Predators did. We'll take one last look at what the Predators have done, and then we'll move on. I wouldn't be upset if I had both Columbus and Detroit on my card here. Detroit coming home off a 4-game road trip. I think that was the other angle. I don't like that. I don't like that. They come home. They have 4 days off. How could they possibly be sharp as you'd want them here? I think the answer is they can't be. I think that's the answer. And going back to Columbus at home, is this the final game of their homestand? They played 4 games right now at home. Oh, it's the 5th of 6. They lose to Detroit 6-1. They barely beat Philly 5-4 in overtime. Beat Montreal. These are just coin flip spots here. I think you're getting a good price on Columbus, though. I think they beat Montreal again. Okay, I might add Columbus. I'm not going to add Detroit coming home after that road trip. Spenny liking Detroit here. It's Detroit or no bet. It's Fat Wally in the house. Okay, let's move on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, Boston Bruins 17-2-0, 6-2-0 on the road. Florida Panthers 9-8-2, 5-2-2 at home. Florida Live Arena in Sunrise, Florida. I came close to betting the Panthers here. In the end, I couldn't pull the trigger. Boston's won 7 straight games. They beat Tampa 5-3 on Monday night in Tampa. Do I really want to try and get in the way of what the Bruins are doing here? And the answer is no. If I had a free bet, I'd probably put it on Florida here. Florida is not playing very good hockey, but they're going to be a very strong home team this year. The idea that you could get Florida against anybody, and I mean anybody in the league at home at -109. Now, obviously, this is a team that's 17-2. There has been a 10-cent move to the over. I can't do it. I can't do it. By the way, Imp is on the Blue Jackets and the Red Wings here. Clint says, I was so very, very wrong on the Bruins this year, and I finally accepted it, not trying to fade them anymore. Yeah. No, I agree. They're very good. Imp, Boston money line and leaning over. Florida comes in off their 3rd straight loss, 5-3 at Columbus on Sunday. This is where you want them. You want them rested and angry. Boston's held opponents to 10 goals over their 7-game winning streak. There's no way. It would be Florida or no bet. I like an angry team off the 3-game losing streak, a team that I expect will step up here. Let's look at Swayman, too. He's got an 890 save percent. Is Swayman actually in goal? Can somebody confirm the goaltending here? Because if it's Swayman, I'd lean towards the Panthers. If somebody could give me that, I guess the more I talk about it, the more I think, okay, Ullmark expected. Okay, that makes sense. Ullmark expected. Okay. All right. It's too bad. It's too bad. But I understand. I bet you, let's take just a look at the cash flow in this one here. And, 66% ticket, 69% of cash. I thought there'd be some sharp money on Florida, not there. All right. I'm off this spot here. Still thinking about Columbus. Clint says he's just happy Ekblad is back over 2.5 shots on goal. Let's move on to the next spot on the board, 7 p.m. Eastern, Winnipeg Jets at Minnesota Wild. I've enjoyed watching the Wild struggle. I'm on there under 99.5 points. I feel like I can spend that money right now. But this Wild team, as soon as Ryan Hartman comes back, I think will provide a ton of value for gamblers. So I think we wait and watch till Hartman comes back, and as soon as he's back, we pounce. The Jets 11-5-1, 4-3-1 on the road. Bonus doing a hell of a job there. Wild 8-8-2, 3-5-1 at home. Rem Mo says Winnipeg 3-12 to the under. Mini 7-11 to the under. Winnipeg last 10, 1 over in 6 games. Minnesota last 10, 2 overs in 6 games. Wow. We're at XL Energy Center in St. Paul, Minnesota. It's become very tough for the Wild here when you don't have any kind of offensive centerman. You have to be a pretty special centerman to be able to play between the superstars that they have, Kaprizov and Zuccarello, on Minnesota's first line, and they need Hartman. They need him bad. But I blame Guerin. I think a lot of mistakes have been made building this hockey team because you have really nice pieces and you have size and Greenway and Foligno and Eriksson Ek, and I don't like it. Hellebuck 8-4-1, 2.07 goals against average, 935 save percentage, 2 shutouts. All of a sudden, he's back to his 2019 Vezina Trophy ways. Philip Gustafsson being forced to be the man in net for the Wild with Marc-Andre Fleury injured. Mike Wilkerson, Kansas -8, locking it in. We have NBA here at the top of the hour. Excuse me. So Minnesota power play 20.3%, penalty killing 80.3%. Winnipeg comes in off their third win in 4 games, 4-3 in overtime versus Carolina on Monday night. Nikolai Ehlers will be out for at least another week. Dylan DeMello is day-to-day with an upper body injury. The Wild snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 2-1 overtime victory over Carolina at home on Saturday. This is a rested group. I wonder, is there any chance that Ryan Hartman will be back? Is there any chance? Let's just... Because if he is, this team is just going to... Oh, sorry, let me just go there, see if we can get a quick update on Ryan Hartman. No, he's not going to be back. Ronnie and Berger said Jets just got shut out by the Leaky Pens. No way I can back them here. Why don't we just take a look at the line history here for this one? And we have no movement. Winnipeg sitting at -150. From a total perspective, it opened at 5.5 and is up to 6. That's interesting. That's interesting. I guess when it comes, and not skating, it hasn't even been skating. Okay. Well, I'm telling you, as soon as he comes back, this team is going to have value. They need him so badly. And, we talk about them playing $10 million with $10 million less money this year, next year, and the year after 14. They're fucked. Fowlish Hound in the house. What up, Fowlish Hound? That's Jets Wild. No move for me. Let's talk about the most exciting game on the board. 7 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Maple Leafs 10-5-5, 3-3-2 on the road at New Jersey Devils 16-3, 8-2-0 at home. I moved on the Devils -1. I got +117. Moneyline -135. Puck line +175. We're at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. Matt Murray has been good. I don't know how long that will last. He's only started 4 games for the Leafs, got 913 save percentage. Looks okay. Vic Vanacek has been excellent for these Devils. 9-1-0, 2.14 goals against average, 918 save percentage. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. This has the Devils opening up -135. They got up to -144. They actually got up to -147 yesterday afternoon. From a totals perspective, it opened up 6.5 -116 to the over. It's now a pick'em at 6.5. Pick'em. And this is a spot for me where Morgan Riley, TJ Brody, and Jake Muzzin are all injured. We just went over the pairings for the Leafs, and it's atrocious. To think that Hall and Giordano would be your number 1 pair right now, you're in big, big, big trouble. Slatsy says, can I tell you how happy I am that I have Bratt and Hischier in my hockey pool? Hischier looks great. I had him last year. Didn't get him this year. Diehard says, step on the throat to me. This game means so much to the Devils. It just means so much. They tie their franchise record with their 13th straight win. It was at home over the Oilers on Monday night, and I think that it's all hands on deck, and the Devils will win here at home against a Leafs team that is not strong defensively. I mean, the Leafs have won 3 of 8 games in regulation on the road. The Devils are 8-2. They've won 8 of 10. Andrew said once Riley went down the line, jumped 30 to 40 cents. I missed out on jersey. Ronnie and Bergia says, is this the most exciting Devils team of all time? Well, definitely. Without a doubt. I mean, there was parts of the Scott Stevens and Claude Lemieux Devils that were fun, watching them put their shoulder in people's faces and watching Stevens knock out Eric Lindros. You remember when Paul Kariya got knocked out by Scott Stevens and came back to score the overtime winner? That was what? That's fucking spectacular. It would never let that happen anymore. I'm on Devils -1 and +117. Just very, very comfortable here. Now, and I want you to know, I initially was like, I wonder, I really thought when I broke this game down on the angle of, can the Maple Leafs stop this streak? Because I know that would mean something to them. The answer is they can't. All right. We moved past that. Devils -1. I moved on. And here's my other -1. It's the Pittsburgh Penguins here at home against the Flames. Imp is sprinkling on the draw, Devils Leafs. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Slatsy says, but Kariya was never the same after that hit. Well, he was getting older, but come on. Top corner, snipes it top corner from skating down the wing. And Kariya's been pretty hasn't been around much since then. North Vancouver boy. I was a fan of his brother Steve as well. To come back at something like that was spectacular. Sharon Pulliam wishing everybody a happy Turkey Day. Nutflush working on the Devils team total right now. And Darth Vlader, perfect in net. Vlader in net 10 minutes ago confirmed. Perfect. That will help my line, I'm sure. Even though Markstrom has not been playing well. Sweaty Butcher made a move on both teams to score in Canada, Belgium, -115. Interesting. I'm surprised it's -115. I'm surprised how much hope they've given Canada here against Belgium. It's surprising to me. I mean, okay, but let's move on. Here, PPG Paints Arena, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The Flames coming off their second straight win, 5-2 at Philadelphia on Monday night. Now, I know it's not going out on a ledge when I told you that the Flyers would lose 45 of their next 60 games to fall apart and be the worst team in the National Hockey League, but they have lost 7 straight games, and they've lost 6 straight since I said that. Who cares that the Flames went in there and beat them? The Flames, I know that Dennis Garcia is high on this Flames team. I'm not. Penguins come in off their third straight win, 5-3 at the Blackhawks on Sunday. Look, there's not a lot about... Look, the Penguins beat the Blackhawks. The Flames beat Philadelphia. 2 bad teams. I just feel that there is an edge, an advantage here at home with the Penguins. I know they're just 3-2-1 at home, but that's part of the problem with this team's record. This team's 19 games into the season. They've only played 6 games at home. And we know that Pittsburgh should be a tough place to play. There's Dana Lance LaRose in the house. I hope so, Sweaty Butcher. I hope so. I have people here watching the game. I'll be watching as soon as I can as well. So let's take a look at the line history here in Penguins Flames. Over here we go. Penguins open up at -119. They're now -121. They got up to -125, -128 even. The early money was all over the Penguins. From a total standpoint, opened up at 6.5. -118 to the over. It's now -120 to the over. Sky Dragon says Flames fans Stanley Cup. I love it. I do not believe in either of these teams, but I do think this is a great price on the Penguins at home. I got them on the -1 line at +139, and I expect to see improved play from this Penguins team as they can get some home games under their belt. Ronnie and Bergia says Thanksgiving Eve Pens games are usually pretty exciting. All the transplanted Pittsburghers back in town along with the college kids. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch, So pretty easy here. These were the 2 additions I made. So the first 3 bets I made, I had planned. There was a couple more that I almost was going to make, but I was like, last night I was like, this is my plan, but I'd like to wake up with a fresh and then decide if I should pull the trigger. I pulled the trigger on 3 of them. I decided to add the Devils -1 and the Penguins -1. Let's talk about the next spot for me on the board that I had planned all along. I got the exact same line that I got with the Penguins. I'm on the Islanders -1 at +139. Darryl Sutter won 2 cups with the Kings. Still think that was really something when Gretzky didn't win one there, says Eddie Euler. Yeah, if it wasn't for Marty McSorley's illegal curve, maybe they do win a cup. There's BT in the house. Coin has some Columbus Blue Jackets money line in his pocket. Montreal in the back-to-back, like fading the back-to-back team angle. So do I. The problem there, Coin, though, is just that they lost 7-2. That's if they had won the game or if they had won the game, I'd be on it for sure. And the fact that they lost to Columbus last week in the same spot. But it's Columbus or no bet for me, no doubt about it. Oilers, New York Islanders. If the Oilers don't do something, Eddie Euler saying Marty, nicest hockey player I ever met. Look, when I think of Marty McSorley, I think about what he did to Donald Brashear. And it was horrific. But I've heard he's a nice guy. But he should have been put in jail. Okay, back to what we're talking about here. Oilers, Islanders, UBS Arena in Elmont, New York. Campbell, 6-4, 4.27 goals against average, 873 save percentage. He's been terrible. Absolutely terrible. Will we see Skinner? Spenny Pennybomb says if Campbell's in net, give me New York Islanders. I heard a goalie coach talking about all the issues Campbell's having, and they're just he was saying that they're I was on the radio. He was saying they're completely legitimate. Like he's making mistakes all over the ice. He's not reading the puck well. He's not handling rebounds. It was just one after another, saying that there's serious problems with Campbell right now. Sorokin is on the other side, 8-5-0, 2.37 goals against average, 926 save percentage. You know what I think of Sorokin? I think he's an elite top goaltender in the NHL. Edmonton power play at 31.3%, penalty killing at 72.7% weak. The Islanders power play at 20.3%, penalty killing 82.8%. I've been saying all year, there's a ton of value on the Islanders. There's a ton of value on them at home. I think I'll be betting them constantly throughout the season. The Oilers coming off their second loss in 3 games, 5-2 at the Devils on Monday night. It's beginning a 3-game road trip for them. I'm not a fan of Kyler Yamamoto at all. I don't think he's very good. I think he's easy to play against. I think he's tiny, and I think he's another guy with toddler shoulders who would not play on my hockey team. I wouldn't. I want to be a tough team to play against. He doesn't fall in any of those. He's got 3 assists this year. He's off to a terrible start, and I'm not a fan. But him and Evander Kane out of the lineup hurts their depth. But this team has serious depth problems. I mean, if they don't do something, they won't make the playoffs. I mean, listen how bad it is. You have McDavid and Draisaitl who are spectacular. You have Nuge having the best season of his career, and Zach Hyman, completely trustworthy, accountable, hell of a player. The next leading scorer at forward that's healthy is Ryan McLeod with 3 goals and 2 assists in 19 games. That's a serious problem. And I know that the management's not going to do anything until closer to the trade deadline so they can take advantage of the cash that they have. So Islanders snapped a 2-game losing streak with a 3-2 overtime win at Toronto on Monday to close out a 4-game road trip at 2-2. I'm on the Islanders -1, and the Oilers, especially at home when they're favorites, because they're 5-3 on the road, they have negative at home. They're going to be a team that we can fade. And especially against a team like the Islanders who have an 82.8% penalty killing. Now remember, that's dropped from 87%, but still. And Jay Vegas says McDavid scores a goal tonight, same odds as Oilers to win. I'm on the Islanders -1 at +139 with a lot of confidence here. We'll take a look at the line history here in this one as we haven't done that. Who cares about the money? Let's just let that go. And not many tickets in anyways. So here we go. Line history for the Islanders. They opened up at -107. They're up to -120 right now. They were at -104 at 10:30 this morning somehow. I don't know how. Let's just see what they were at Bet365. Did they even move it at all? They did. They moved it down to -115 at 10:40 in the morning. Would rather had that. It's back to -120. And look, you don't. I don't want to bet teams who are coming back from a road trip. Unless it's an 0-5 road trip or an 1-4 road trip. This is not a position I want to be in. I just feel like the Oilers are very, very fadeable right now. All right, we move on. Philadelphia Flyers at Washington Capitals. Look, I know that the Flyers are going to lose out, but how do you make any money off that? I mean, it's not a big statement saying they're just going to be god-awful for the rest of the year, So Washington Capitals 7-10-3, 5-4-1 at home. I know that I'm going to cash them not making the playoffs at +130. I know I'm going to cash their scoring points under. I know that I'm completely in business fading this team. Yeah, top 100. Sorry, Jose. Yeah. So Philadelphia comes in off their 7th straight loss, 5-2 at home to the Flames on Monday night. Capitals coming off their 4th straight loss, 4-0 at home to the Avalanche on Saturday night. The Capitals, I think, can provide us some value backing them at home at certain points this year. Kemper is not being good, 907 save percentage. That's what I expected. Carter Hart, 6-4-4, 2.68 goals against average, 920 save percentage. He's doing all that he can here. There's just I don't see how you can move on this hockey game unless you can move on the under. And I thought, oh my God, could they give us a 6.5? Could they give us a 6.5? I remember thinking that last night. And of course, they know it's a 6. But it got up to 6.5 last night at one point, which I felt shocking. So shocking because it even dipped to 5.5 at 11:30 this morning. I imagine there won't be a lot of goals here, but that doesn't mean that I can move on the Caps. Moving on the Caps in regulation and puck line. I can't trust this Capitals team with all their injuries. I don't want them at this price. I don't know what to do with the Caps opening up at -207 now, -229. Maybe if I'm with buddies in Vegas, maybe we put a couple K on the Caps on a -1 line and watch the game together, something like that. But for me, sitting at home, do I want to put $200 on the Capitals at -1? No, I don't. Brady says, why are you so down on the Caps? They have veterans that are good pros. I just think they're a great team to fade. I just think that the conference has become much stronger. There's more parity. They're going to have a tough time in their division. They're going to have a tough time going up against the Atlantic. I just think that they're not going to make the playoffs. I'm going to cash that at +130. I've got their team points under 93.5, I believe. I'm going to cash that as well. And look, as a fan, I'm a fan of the vets on the Caps, Birdie. But with all the injuries that they're facing, and without Wilson, and when does Wilson come back? And Wilson maybe comes back next month, maybe comes back in January. Look, I like making money. So I want to bet against the Capitals. But they're so bad, 7-10-3, that it'll be easier to find places to back them. I mean, they've won in regulation 7 out of 20 games this year. So I think there's going to be times where we can fade them at home. All right.
Cheers, Jimmy. Congratulations to all the Jets fans. We survived the Zach Wilson era. The white guy starting. Mike White.
Oh, no.
Shout out to Mike White.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to we'll see how he looks for the Cappers contest, I guess. Looking boozed up. Man. Yeah, Brady, I'm really, I've been saying it all year. They're a must. They're so bad that they're actually going to give us value at certain times at home. So, all right, let's move on here. But look at this quickly. We'll just, for those of you thinking about making moves on the spot, we'll just quickly go over. You have Oshie, who could come back, and Orlov, who could come back today. So could Hagelin. I mean, how long are we going to wait for these guys to come back? They're all capable of coming back, and maybe now at home, they could be back. When they do that, it'll change things. You have Wilson out until December 7th at the earliest. Backstrom out to January 1st. But it's Philadelphia that's so banged up. Konechny was playing really good hockey, but you have Atkinson out, Lawton, Konechny, Brink, Van Riemsdyk, Couturier. I mean, I guess the more I talk about it, the more I think this is a good spot for the Capitals. But if you look at their roster, I don't know. And you have Kemper in goal. You have the Philadelphia Flyers who are trying under Tortorella, even though they have, lack of depth, and they have a better goaltending. I can't do it. I can't do it. Let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Blackhawks 6-9-3, 2-4-2 on the road at the Stars. 11-5-3, 5-2-1 at home at American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. I have Mrazek listed for the Blackhawks. I mean, he's just atrocious. Ottinger listed for the Stars. He's starting to find his rhythm again. Chicago power play at 21.4%, penalty killing at 75.4%. Dallas power play at 29.6%, penalty killing at 82.7%. Let's move here. take a look at the line history for this one. We have Dallas opening up minus 300. Look, I get it. I don't want it, but I can understand, especially this Blackhawks team without Seth Jones, how you want to fade them. But I can't do it. Chicago looks terrible. They're coming off their 4 straight loss, 5-3 at home to the Penguins. They've been outscored 19-6 over their last 4 games. Stars had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 3-2 shootout loss at home to the Avs on Monday. Eddie Oilers saying Seth Jones may return tonight. I can't take Dallas at this price, so what do? Do you expect Dallas to score goals? I guess. But, I mean, they're such a big favorite. I mean, let's just see what they are as a team total, but it's going to be ugly. Their team total right now is over 3.5 minus 135. Sharon says has to be Dallas team total over. There's just no risk reward there. Like we look at what's the risk reward. Spenny Penny Bombs going the team total under 1.5 at plus 200. There is a risk reward that I get, but Dallas, if you turn this into a 4, if you turn this into a 4, meaning that they have to score 5 goals, that's how you can get a plus line. That's the only way to find a plus line. What up, Alex Hills? Great to see you. So not interested here. There's nothing that appeals to me here. But I have moves coming up on the late games. Let's talk about them. First up, New York Rangers, Anaheim Ducks. Rangers 10-6-4, 6-3-1 on the road. Ducks 5-13-1, 3-4-0 at home. Honda Center in Anaheim, California. My ROI is excellent with the Ducks. And I like this hockey team. So there's a couple spots here. I think that Gibson is going to be okay this year. And I'm not sure if that will happen, but I do think so. And Halak is terrible. They're 0-4-1 with Halak between the pipes. This is the second half of a back-to-back. They beat the Kings 5-3 in LA last night. Eddie Oilers says Halak alert. Now, even with Halak between the pipes, you can expect the Rangers to, at some point, take over the hockey game. Rangers power play 23.5%, penalty killing 81.7%. I mean, look how bad Anaheim special teams are. They're atrocious. 13.2%, penalty killing at 64.2%. The Ducks come in off their 3rd straight loss, 3-1 at St. Louis on Monday night. So for me, Halak being vulnerable, the Ducks needing to bounce back off of 2 poor games in St. Louis. Did I like this price I got on the Ducks first period? Ducks first period at plus 130. I cashed the Ducks first period last week with you guys when they went into Winnipeg. I cashed that at plus 145. I'm going to cash it again. There's my guy, Jay Peasy, in the house. Says, keeping me sane on my last day of work. Oh, happy Thanksgiving, my man. Eddie Weller says, does Verbeek know what he's doing? This Ducks team reminds me of where the Devils were 2 years ago. Now, the top-end talent is not quite as high with Zegras and McTavish as you could say Hischier and Hughes are. But I think that in 2 years, the Ducks are going to be a really good team. It hurt to lose Drysdale for the year, and I thought they were going to be better than they are, clearly here. And Slatsy says, did Ducks win a game regulation yet? They've only played 7 games at home, right? There's certain teams like the Penguins and the Ducks that we've talked about that have played a majority of their games on the road. The Ducks have won 3 of their 7 games at home in regulation. Nutflush says, Rangers could have easily gone out last night in LA and enjoyed a night out on town, come in sleepy versus the Ducks. I think there's a lot of things to me that point that the Ducks are going to be live here in the first period. And this isn't the only dog I'm taking first period, and we have one coming up here. But I'm on the Ducks first period at plus 130. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. Vancouver Canucks 6-10-3, 3-6-2 on the road to the Colorado Avalanche, 11-5-1, 4-2-1 at home. My pleasure, Eddie Orla. I love this. Well, it's Halak and Gibson at least at this point. That's what we think is the goaltending. Well, we know that Halak's going to be in goal for the Rangers, but we expect Gibson to be in net. And Gibson has had some nice games this year. But let's talk about this spot for the Canucks and Avalanche Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. I think it's so simple what's going on with this Canucks team. And, there's ways we can make money with them. Their power play is at 29.2%. Colorado's power play is the best in the league at 34.5%. Vancouver's power play is almost, you don't want to say better than a power play that has Cale Makar at the point and McKinnon in front, but this Canucks power play is very, very good. And their forward group is very strong. It's their defense is so atrocious. And, you can't have a 65% penalty killing in the NHL anymore. And if you do, you're screwed. Look at the Ducks 64.2% penalty killing. I mean, the star power on these other power plays is so spectacular. Eddie Euler says Tommy Larscheid would say the Canucks are playing loosey-goosey hockey. Good call, Eddie Euler. God, I love Tommy Larscheid. What a spectacular guy. BC Lion. He's just he's one of my favorite people in the sports world, without a doubt. Tommy Larscheid. Great call, Eddie Euler. The Canucks coming up, they're having their modest 2-game winning streak snapped, a 5-4 loss at home to the Knights on Monday night. Cohen saying Vancouver let me down the other night versus Vegas. He had another 2-goal lead blown. I don't know how you could bet them other than team totals. I really don't. I don't know how you could bet them. And the way Georgiev is playing right now with 2.4 goals against average, 929 save percentage, and Colorado playing pretty accountable hockey because of all the injuries that they're dealing with, that they're not pushing it, they're not forcing it. Let's just go over their injuries really quickly because it's pretty dramatic that they're playing the way they are, 11-5-1 with these injuries. You have Girard and Byram out. And then, Curtis McDermott, was a depth piece, but Byram and Girard out. And then you have Landeskog, Helm, and Nichushkin out. They're playing really good hockey. At this point, with the injuries that Colorado has, the Canucks wanting to get out of Vancouver where they're just being destroyed in the press, I get why there's been a market shift towards the Canucks. The Canucks opening up plus 176, they're now plus 163. I get it. But I don't want anything to do with them. And except in a team total situation where I think that we can find a lot of great opportunities to back them on a team total. Let's just see what they are here. And I'm telling you, this power play is absolutely elite. So we need just to sit and watch when they're dogs, when we can get in on a team total. But let's just see what their team total is here right now. Yeah, the 3 would be plus money. You'd need 4 goals to cash it. You have to wait till they're big dogs, I guess. So let's move on to this next spot, 10 p.m. Eastern, Sharks, Kraken, Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. Is Martin Jones, we expect to be in between the pipes, but they had Kakkonen and Grubauer listed. Can somebody get me the latest, most fresh information on who's going to be in between the pipes for the Sharks and the Kraken here? Sharks snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 5-1 win at home over Ottawa on Monday night. They lose depth with Nico Sturm hurt. He could return on Friday. And then C-Mac, a defenseman, also is being hurt, and he could return tonight. The Kraken coming off their second straight win, 3-2 in overtime over the Kings at home on Saturday night. They played in 3 straight over games all at home. They lost to Winnipeg 3-2. They beat the Rangers 3-2 before beating the Kings 3-2 on Saturday. This is the final game of a 6-game homestand. Alesiak and Donskoy have both been day-to-day. They could return tonight. But here you have a Kraken team playing their last home game after not playing since Saturday night. That's a recipe I don't want anything to do with. So I was thinking that there could be some sloppiness in the Kraken game, even though they have been playing very sound. And I thought that the over could easily be bet in Sharks Kraken. And I was just sitting back and waiting to see who was going to be in between the pipes. And it's Jones and Kakkonen and Grubauer projected. See, I don't know why they'd go with Kakkonen. So this is the situation for me here. If it's Kakkonen versus Grubauer, I'm going to bet the over 6. But I can't do it until I know that that's the situation. Let's just take a look at the line history for this one. And I imagine that it's not. There's been a 16-cent move to Seattle, which tells me that Martin Jones is in net. This total hasn't moved from being juiced to the under. There was a time when the Sharks were a beautiful under bet all the time. But they're scoring goals. Their power play is good. Their penalty killing has been elite. I don't know exactly why that is. But if it's Kokkonen, Grubauer, it's an easy over. Reimer is hurt. Yes, Reimer is hurt. And Dell, look, if Aaron Dell gets a spot start, he can play good. People love him in the league. He's a good character guy. But if he's supposed to start a couple games in a row, it's just the automatic fade. So if those goalies are confirmed, I'll be on the over 6. Let's go to the final spot on the board for me, and it is the Ottawa Senators first period at plus 155. Senators 6-11-1, 151 on the road. This is our last game for NHL. We got it in 15 games in an hour. So Vegas Golden Knights 15-4-1, 6-3-0 at home. T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Talbot supposedly going to be back in action here. Let's just take a look at what Talbot has done here. Cam Talbot. It's a big deal if they can get him back. Let's go here. Okay. Let's take a look. So Talbot's been back for 4 games now. And he got lit up against the Sharks in the 5-1 loss. He got lit up against the Devils in a 5-1 loss. Actually, the Devils game wasn't on him. He came in late in that game. So that wasn't on him. So he was pulled against the Sharks. I think this is a good bounce back opportunity for Talbot. Eddie Oler saying Shabbat back tonight. There's razor sharp picks in the house. I have him still dealing with a concussion, could return to the lineup tonight. When it's a concussion, you generally see the player return at home, but I have that in my notes. So the Senators begun their 4-game road trip with their second straight loss, 5-1 at Sharks on Monday night. They've been outscored 10-2 over those 2 losses. So I just have a feeling that they come out ready to go. Now, look, Vegas 15-4-1, but they're just 6-3 at home. For whatever reason, they haven't been as alert or sharp early in games as you would think they would. And they haven't even been that good at home. So if you have Talbot, who could possibly bounce back here after being pulled in San Jose on Monday, you have a Senators team that's going to know that they're playing, the best team in the Western Conference. And they've won 1 game in regulation on the road. And I think that they come out fired up in Vegas and play good hockey. Now, what also could have happened is they could have gone out in Vegas last night. I don't think that they would have done that. I really don't. So the Golden Knights coming off their second win in 3 games, 5-4 at Vancouver on Monday night. And for me, the Golden Knights are so talented that they just kind of pick and choose when they turn it on. Robert Franklin says over. Let's just take a quick look at the line history here for the final game on the board before we go into NBA and see what it's done here. Line history-wise, the Vegas hasn't moved. They opened up minus 228. They're now minus 220. And from a total standpoint, opened up as a pick 'em, and there's been a huge move to the over. And the biggest move, there was a 12-cent move at 10:45 this morning. It's now 6.5 minus 126. Clint says thoughts on Eichel to win the Hart at plus 300 or plus 3,500. I think that the leader of that hockey team is Mark Stone. So he's their captain. He's the straw that stirs the drink. And look, Eichel's been good this year, but I don't know. I guess 35-1. You never talk anybody off at 35-1. But no, I don't believe that Eichel will take care of business. Bananas and Grapes says Sens come out guns a-blazing. Eddie Goller says Vegas won 2-1 and 3-2 in a shootout last 2 meetings in Vegas. So with all that being said, I like my card. And it looks like there'll only be 1 addition. So let's just review all NHL right now here for you guys. The addition would be the under 6 in Arizona, Carolina. I like it. The second edition would be Columbus, and I'm not going to do it. It just doesn't all correlate. The fact that they beat Montreal here last week in this situation, Montreal and Anger Group coming off a 7-2 loss. There's Dave Burke in the house. What up, Burkey? Thank you, Razor. I'm excited about the Canada game today. So I'm going to take Columbus off, but I get if anybody moves on them. Detroit it's a situation for me, and we've talked about it on the show. There's certain angles that I really like. I like the 5th game and 6th game homestand. I like the 4th game and the 5 game homestand, even though the 5th game and 6th game homestand didn't work for me with the Pelicans, but I feel like it's a great spot for Columbus here. It's a really good spot for them here. But Montreal is an angry group. Fuck. Gerardo Hernandez, what's up, my man? So I'm on the Devils -1 at +117 to hit a franchise record 14-game winning streak. I'm on the Penguins -1 at +139. Pittsburgh going up against the Flames backup. Markstrom's not been good. Maybe Vladar's better. Islanders -1 at +139. This Oilers team has no depth whatsoever, and I don't like backing the team on their first game home, but I want to fade Edmonton in spots like this. And then I have 2 dogs in the first period. I have the Ducks first period at +130, and I have the Sens first period at +155. Now, if Capo Kakinen and Grubauer are confirmed in net, I will be on the over 6 in Sharks Kraken. Eddie Euler saying Wisconsin Dayton looks like an under. We will be capping that game right here on the show. But it is time to move on from NHL and move on to NBA. Let's welcome your first guest of the program here today, coming to us from Los Angeles, California. Please welcome Darryl Rice to the program. Darryl, how are you, my man?
Yo, what's good, Jimmy? What's good, man? Happy to be back with you, man. Happy to be back. A lot of games today.
Yes.
Did pretty good yesterday. Went 2-1. So I'm feeling a little rhythm. I know I got off to a slow start, but it's all good, man. Long season, and as I always say, any day on this side of the grass is a good day. So before first and foremost anything, man, happy Turkey Day to you and your family. Hope you guys get fat and fed, and I hope you are watching ball and drinking Kraken all day tomorrow.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm watching. I'm live. We are live streaming, live betting every football game. I will host all. So I'll be 10 hours on camera drinking Kraken.
Oh, wow. This is that you're just going to be sloppy, man. You're going to be sloppy.
I don't get sloppy. I get because I mix my Kraken with caffeine, so I don't get sloppy. What I get is I get dangerous.
Ooh, dangerous.
Yeah, I get fucking dangerous.
Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat too, man. I love the Low Bag family, bro. You guys have really embraced me, and I just really, really, really appreciate everybody. Everybody, I appreciate you all, man. So,
well, I can speak for all of us, love working with you, Darryl. So
yeah, man.
Let's get right to work now. Because I had my football show ended last night at about 10:30. So then I started working on this enormous card, and I knew I was doing NHL by myself. So
yeah,
I'm going to pull up the injury report, but
Yeah.
I'm just going to basically set the table for you and listen. And that will, in the past, has worked very well for me working with you. So you are going to be in charge of a little more than normal. But let's get to work right now here.
Let's get to work. You forgot to do your head, Judy. Let's get to work.
7 p.m. Eastern. We start with the Philadelphia 76ers 9-8, 3-3 on the road at Charlotte Hornets 4-14, 1-6 at home. We're at Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Philadelphia 4-1 over their past 5, 99.80 possessions a game, while Charlotte 1-4. It's almost at the same pace, 99.84 possessions a game. Let's start with the line history here. We have the Hornets opening up as 4-point favorites. They are now 5-point favorites. Sixers obviously dealing with a lot of injuries here. This total opening up at 214.5 is slightly juiced to the under. When we go over to the cash flow here, 1,059 tickets in. It's 50-50 on the tickets, but 80% of the cash is on Charlotte. Then you have 85% of the tickets on the over, but just 33% of cash on the over. So bigger bets coming in on the under. Sixers are on the second half of a back-to-back after their fourth win in 5 games last night, 115-106 at home over Brooklyn. The Hornets come in off their third straight loss, 106-102 at Washington on Sunday. A huge rest advantage for these Charlotte Hornets. The floor is yours, Darryl. First game on the card, Sixers-Hornets.
Yeah, so if anything, we know Philly played, and what I hear in some circles, their Super Bowl yesterday. right? That was a statement game. And what I had said about yesterday's game was a lot of of course, everything is analytics and data driven, right? But what you can't really determine or quantify, if you will, is a player's heart, right? And I believe that game last night against the Nets was, I said it before, was going to be a gritty game, man, because of how the trades transpired and because of the history these teams have, and specifically Ben Simmons. I knew the fans would show up for that team, even though it really didn't show as much. But I'm telling you right now, man, they played their Super Bowl yesterday. And that win over Brooklyn meant a lot to Philly. Now, who really showed up yesterday was Tobias Harris, right? Rolled his ankle or whatever, came back and just went ham. I also said it, and people clown me for it, man. One of my picks yesterday was PJ Tucker under 4.5 points. And the brother went 0 for 6, right? So what I'm starting to learn is there's some people in place who are just there to be a specific role player. PJ Tucker isn't one of those. If you look at that game, he stays on the corner. And if you've got Milton driving the ball, he will shoot to the weak side corner and hit Korkmaz before he even looks at PJ, right? So we know that Philly has a certain type of playing style, and they really, really showed up yesterday. With that being said, it would seem like this is going to be a Charlotte Hornets spot here. I didn't touch this game at all because I believe with the back-to-back game and travel, I would not be surprised if you have some kind of trickeration going on with this injury report, specifically Tobias Harris. Now, with all of that side on Charlotte, I am so surprised the line has moved up. It's actually, it went from 3.5 to 4, 4.5, and now it's at 5, right? So there is some money or some kind of reverse line movement for whatever reason on Philly's end. So on my end, I'm not touching this game because I'm not that type of person that's going to bet on Charlotte, but it does seem like Charlotte is the side here because of the type of game that Philly played yesterday. So it's a lean on Charlotte, but I would stay away from this game until you get a final injury report, specifically shoot around. See if Tobias Harris is actively participating at shoot around today.
Yeah, it just feels like even without Ball, Charlotte should be able to take care of business here against a team that expended all their energy yesterday with all the injury issues that they have.
Absolutely.
So I get why the market's moving in their direction.
But why is that line 5 now?
Well, the Hornets are going to take care of business. That's why it's 5. I think, it's just a slam dunk spot against the exhausted Philadelphia team. I mean,
who had to travel.
And look who they're playing without, And so if there's no Embiid, Thibault, Harden, Maxey,
it seems like a Charlotte spot for me. I'm just not bold enough at this point to take Charlotte. But if you like Charlotte, take them now. Take them now only because I have a sneaky suspicion that there might be something going on with this damn injury report, and you might have Tobias out. They got their win last night. They should ultimately win this game, but by this margin, I would take Charlotte now if you like Charlotte, because if that injury report comes out and Tobias is not playing or questionable, that line is going down.
So this opened at 4 at Pinnacle. What did 365 had at 3.5? Yeah, last night. But the interesting thing here, it went from 3.5 to 4 to 4.5, and then back to 3.5 this morning. And it got up to 5 at 9 a.m. and then at 10:30 back to 4.
Yeah. So now maybe you have people pounding Charlotte, it's one of those things that if you're going to take them, I would take them now, because I do believe you might have some type of manipulation with the injury report. Pay attention to the shoot around for the Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, I think you're right. I think this is a spot where Sixers just give in. So I really do. I think they just give in here. I would like to get in on the Charlotte Hornets. I don't, they've won one game at home this year, so I can understand why people don't want in. But I 5 is fine for me. I probably should have been in already. I don't think I want to go any higher than 5. Velo Cut says cash on that PJ Tucker under 4.5 points last night with a big.
That's
laugh.
what I'm talking about, man. Hey, I get roasted, man, and likely I should in the past, especially this year. But I got roasted on that pick yesterday. I got roasted on that, Jimmy. And I'm like, okay, I'll let it slide, man. But listen, when you watch ball and start understanding, man, I'm telling you, man, this dude put up 6 shots, 0 for 6, man. Just terrible. He's there for defense. He's there to put defense on that other team's best shooter, in which he's doing. But he's not that scorer.
God, you also feel like that Sixers team total under is going to be in play.
Yeah, if I'm looking at some metrics here. They have that game at 215. 215 is what that game is, and the line is actually at 5.35. So, just looking at this website that has these metrics and ratings, but it's just it's got to be a Charlotte side, but. We've talked too long about that game to not play on it, but best of luck for anybody who's got plays on that one.
Nutflash Allen looking at Charlotte team total. I'm going to get in on Charlotte. I want the 5. I don't want to pay more than that, and I also think the Sixers team total under 105.5 is in play. Yeah. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. A much more exciting one, 7 p.m. Eastern. Portland Trailblazers 10-7, 6-3 on the road at the Cleveland Cavaliers 11-6, 7-1 at home at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, Cleveland, Ohio. Portland now 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 99.30 possessions a game, while Cleveland playing really slow, 3-2 over their past 5, 96.77 possessions a game over those 5 games. Take a look at the line history here. Cleveland opening up at -8, -105. It dipped to 7.5 for a little bit, but it's back at 8. From the total perspective, it opened up at 217. It's now dropped to 214. I hear a little bit of an echo there, Darryl. Do you want me to pull you out?
Nope.
Okay, figure that out. Thank you.
How about that? Is that better?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So then we'll go over to the cash flow here for Blazers. Cavs. We have just 1,311 tickets in, 61% of tickets, 89% of cash on the Portland Trailblazers, but the line not moving. We don't know the cash flow for the total, but we know that 69% of tickets are on the over. Blazers coming off their third straight loss, 119-111 at Milwaukee on Monday night. Cavs coming off their third straight win, 114-102 at home over the Hawks on Monday night. Simi OG is on the Blazers +8.
Oh, wow.
And Eddie Euler says Josh Hart is probable for the Blazers. Take it away for us, Darryl. Blazers, Cavs.
You ready for this? You ready for this, Jimmy?
I think so.
Give me Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. Yeah.
Break it down.
Yeah. So, okay. What Cleveland's doing at home is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Where Cleveland dominates and what I've seen as of late is really in the second half. And that doesn't work to Portland's favor, in which that's the team that just totally collapses in the fourth quarter. Right? So looking at Cleveland being 7-1 at home, Cleveland has lost 6 games. 5 of those games have been away. But when they are at home, they handle business. Portland, you can make a case, they're 6-3 away. They do okay, but it looks like they had that run early, and then they just fizzled out. It's like teams have got them figured out at this point, and I really can't grasp what it is besides Dame Lillard being an issue. But Portland lost to Milwaukee, lost to Utah, lost to Brooklyn by 2 points. You beat San Antonio, but you lose to Dallas. So these upper tier teams, these teams that can get things done at home, have winning records. Portland cannot play against them. They cannot play against them at all. Where Portland is going to have to, what they're going to have to do is shoot on the outside, because the bigs, in my opinion, are going to be able to contain Nurkic. That's just my opinion. And if you got Love coming out there, because he's questionable, he may just play today. Now you got another big who could shoot. So this one here, I totally believe this is a blowout in my head. So everything points for me towards taking Cleveland at this, because this is what's going to happen. You're going to see Cleveland maybe have a tight game in that first half, but that second half, Portland starts to fizzle out and Cleveland just runs with it at that point. Cleveland, they're playing slow, right? They held Atlanta to 102 points. They held Miami to 87 points. They lost to Milwaukee, put up 113. They put up 98 points. You know, they lost to Minnesota, which is the highest scoring team in the league. But you could see as of late what they're doing, their body of work as of late, now that they're a little healthier. This is the Cleveland team you want to see. I do like them. I'm on Cleveland -8. I already took that early this morning. I'll give him fucking shit what the spread is.
Well, we can give you a 7.5, a -110 available. Bovada and Bodog.
Take it.
Interesting. Did you have any concern that the market's not moving more towards them, or do you think the line was strong?
I think the line was pretty sharp, because the number that I had seen in this analytics site is 8.58.
Dan Kelly says Love isn't shooting. Hairline fracture in his right thumb. On Monday, he played D and rebounded and passed, but barely shot the ball. You can take Love points prop under if you can find it. Darryl, I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. Cavs -7.5 and -110. Let's roll on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Two teams on winning streaks collide at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. Timberwolves 9-8, 4-3 on the road at the Pacers 10-6, 6-3 at home. The Pacers on a 5-game winning streak over that span, playing at a pace of 100.20 possessions a game, while Minnesota 4-1, playing at a span of 100.8 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Timberwolves come in as 1-point dogs. They're now 1.5-point favorites. We've had the flip. Then total-wise, opening up at 234, has shot up to 237. Take a look at the cash flow, 1,588 tickets in, 53% of tickets, 77% of cash on the Pacers, but the market moving towards the Timberwolves. Then 52% of the tickets on the under, and we don't have a cash flow. Big shout out to our Dave Burke. Burkey, baby. Now a member of Pub Sports Radio. I love you, Burke.
Shout out, Dave.
Here we go. Timberwolves coming off their 4th straight win, 105-101 at home over the Heat on Monday. Pacers coming off their 5th straight win, 123-102 dominance at home over the Magic on Monday night. Take it away for us, Darryl. Wolves, Pacers.
Yeah. So Minnesota is the highest scoring team in the league, right? The highest scoring team in the first quarter at 31 points. As a favorite, they actually put up 32 points. Pacers, on the other end, they're averaging right now about 25 points, right? As an underdog, they're at 26. Pacers are winning games, right? But if you look at these last wins against Orlando, they lost the first quarter. Against the Orlando, that first of the two Orlando games, lost the first quarter. At Houston, Indiana put up 10 points. They lost the first quarter. At Charlotte, Charlotte tied. 27 points. Toronto, Indiana, 28 points. Toronto, 26. Denver lost that game. Denver, 35 points. Indy, 27 points. I believe this is the type of game, because I have 2 plays on this game. This is going to be the type of game to where Minnesota, as usual, is going to get off into that fast start and win the first quarter. But ultimately, as the game draws out, Pacers are going to win the game. So I took Minnesota because they win first quarters. They're putting up 42, but they put up 42 points in the first quarter. They're putting up an average of 32 points as a favorite. They're going to score in the first quarter. Minnesota -0.5 at 110 first quarter. That's the first play I'm on.
Let's lock that in for you. First quarter, I will line shop. What's the second?
Second play is going to be the Pacers +1.5. I believe down the stretch, this game, Pacers will start to figure it out. You're going to have some bonehead decisions made by Minnesota. You really can't. I don't even know if they really like each other, and Edwards and Gobert, right? There's just there. I was listening to a pod, and they said these guys aren't even talking on defense. They're not even talking, right? Like these guys don't like each other at all. It's a lot going on in there. Now, obviously, winning cures everything at this point. But I just think this is the type of game that's going to get out of hand in the latter part of the game. So Minnesota will get off to this fast start, win the first quarter, and then we'll start to see the game even out. And eventually Indiana will come back with probably a win here. So I do like the Pacers +1.5 full game, Minnesota -0.5 first quarter.
Got you the Timberwolves first quarter -0.5, -105, and Pacers +2 at -105. Big shout out to Sean Pulliam, now a member of Pub Sports Radio. Thank you so much for thinking about us and the support, man. It means a ton. It means a ton to us. Bo Jackson says T-Wolves too immature. Don't bet on kids. Well, look, Spider didn't like Gobert. You know, have you ever heard anyone in your life say, "I like Rudy Gobert"? Never. He's some the guy's just not liked, and he's not helping. And I'll question Cat forever whether he cares. Dan Kelly says his mom. You're right. You're right. Good call. Good call. Rudy Gobert's mom. You're right.
Bo Jackson said, "I don't bet on kids." You damn right, man.
Oh, I do. I bet heavy on kids. I fucking college basketball. Any angle. Give me an edge. I'll fucking hammer it.
That's funny.
Troy Torrance says, why bet both
bet
of those
pre-flop?
pre-flop? Wouldn't you live bet Pacers after the T-Wolves cash the first quarter?
Sure, I would do that, but obviously the game isn't being played right now, so
Yeah,
I'm taking
official picks here for the
yeah,
show.
they're official picks,
Yeah.
picks that I would play. So that is definitely a great strategy, and anybody would do that, right? But the game is not until 7 p.m. Eastern. So for the sake of me making my picks now and things that I like, that's what I like. You probably, if there's a large margin, right, which I think there would be, then obviously that live line is going to be a lot larger. But for what it's worth, the NBA has these books have kind of been catching that also. So the line that you would expect, it's kind of delayed. It probably won't be as large as you would think, not unless there's like a 10-point lead in the first quarter. So yeah, in theory, that's what you're supposed to do. But for the sake of us making official plays now, and the way I believe the game is going to pan out, those are plays I took. But good question.
Saturated says nothing felt worse than sitting under the hook on Ant props last game while Cat's falling all over the court, laughing and turning the ball over. Wow. I so connect with that shit. DC Capper on the Pacers money line. Market moving towards the Timberwolves. We have looks from Darryl. First quarter, Wolves, first quarter -0.5, and Pacers full game +2, -105. We move on, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Sacramento Kings. God, it's been a long time.
I know, man.
This team was relevant.
I know, brother.
10-6, 4-3 on the road, playing great basketball.
Mm-hmm.
7 straight wins. They're on the second half of a back-to-back. Going to Memphis. Take out Memphis last night. I know they're different without Bane, but
they almost tricked that game off, Jimmy. Like I was sitting there watching that game, like, why are you fouling? Why just let him go to the basket, right? But bonehead decisions by Fox at the last that game, man, that almost gave me a heart attack.
But they took care of business in the end, playing with some heart and emotion. Their pace over the last 5 games, very fast. 104.3 possessions a game. Atlanta 2-3 over the past 5, 100.9 possessions a game. Says best King since Mike Bibby days when they got robbed by Donahue. Bibby. Have you seen Bibby lately? Have you seen him? He's fucking jacked.
Yeah, man.
He's huge.
He's taking them steroids.
He's huge. Doesn't talk to his dad.
Yeah.
Kevin Herter revenge spot, says Troy Torrance. These props with players playing their old squads literally prints money. Herter
Good spot.
day today. Ashy Dog was on the Kangs.
I was on the
care of
Kings.
business.
Mm-hmm.
Spenny Pennybomb saying jaw whispering in Monk's ear to miss free throws, and he misses key free throws.
Don't miss. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the line history here. Second half of a back-to-back for the upstart Sacramento Kings going to Atlanta. Atlanta opening up at -5. They got up to -5.5. They're now 4.5, so it's dropped. The total opening up at 239, all the way up to 241. Are you serious? 241?
Insane.
That's high. 1,324 tickets in, 78% of tickets, 95% of cash on the Sacramento Kings. Then you have 35% of tickets and 53% of the cash on the over. So the public actually on the under at this point. That's absolutely wild.
It's crazy.
Dan Kelly said, I remember Henry at UCLA. What's their beef? I don't really know what their beef is, but it's thick. And I don't know if it's been fixed in the last year or two, but they had gone, I think, 10 years.
Pause, man.
10 years without speaking.
You said, I don't know what their beef is, but it's thick. Pause.
Let's roll here. Let's roll. Atlanta comes in off their second loss in 3 games, 114-102 at Cleveland on Monday night. And of course, Sacramento, 7 straight. Take it away for us, Darryl. Kings, Hawks.
I don't want to take it away. I don't want to, man. I got my money last night. I did. I got my money last night. And Sacramento almost tricked that off. Right? They're on a back-to-back. It is a back-to-back that I don't like if I'm the Sacramento, if I'm a Kings backer here. And you got the rest advantage for the Hawks, obviously, and it just seems like the Hawks should get it done, but the Kings are doing what they do, man. But I really didn't want to play this game at all. Whoever said about Herter props and all that, Darren Fox printing money at this point, this is a prop game to me. I just don't feel like going back to the well with the Kings off of a back-to-back. And at the same token, I don't think Atlanta, they should be able to get it done. They should. But just if I go back and forth on this game. Analytics site for this game tells me that this score is going to be the total at 229, home by 1.67. Right? So do we think that the Kings could come off and at least cover, or this 5.5? Maybe, but I just don't want to put any vested interest in this game at all. I made my money off of them yesterday, but I will look at some Herter props, and I will look at some De'Aaron Fox props too. Also, Harrison Barnes. As a matter of fact, what are his threes at right now? Is it over 3.5?
I will pull it up. We can check out a couple of different books here, but let's pull it up right now. Kings, Hawks. Harrison Barnes, threes, sitting at 14.5 points. Let's take a look at this. Threes made. Harrison Barnes, 1.5 juice to the under.
For Harrison Barnes.
Harrison Barnes, threes made, yep. Even money for over 1.5. And big shout out to Know Something for gifting a membership. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Know Something.
That's it. You're a good man.
Man, that just seemed 2 threes?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to look at that also, but for right now, no play for me.
Are you surprised that the market would be moving in the Kings' direction when the Kings expended all that energy in a big win against a tough team in the conference?
Yeah.
And then Atlanta coming in off 2 losses in 3 games, coming off a bad 12-point loss. I mean, wouldn't we think that this is a spot set up for the Hawks, or are they saying that
absolutely
are the Kings just too hot? Why would all the big bets be coming in on the Kings?
If they're there to cover, then that would show that the number's correct, because like I said, it's home by 1.67. So maybe you got this money knowing that the Kings may not win, but can at least cover this 5.5. But this one, it's just too much going on. What do I say at times? It's too many moving parts here for me. And it's basically situational, which is the moving parts, not necessarily the players, but the situation itself. And that's why I can't touch it. But that's just weird.
Dan Kelly saying Hawks did not look good in Cleveland in a game where they had a huge rest advantage. Andrew G saying I cannot fade the city of kings.
Hey man, I come from the era where we used to call them Sacramento Queens, bro. But they really playing like kings.
All right, I'm shocked. I'm just absolutely shocked that this wouldn't be moving towards the Hawks here. It's shocking, but I'm not gonna go up against the big bets or anything. But I'm gonna keep an eye on it. I mean, like if I can see some sort of reverse line movement back to the Hawks, 79% of the tickets, 95% of the cash on Sacramento Kings is just shocking.
That's crazy. But I mean, they're winning games.
Yeah,
and they're playing tough teams.
Hawks are 6-3 at home. Having lost 2 of their last 3, I just find that just shocking. Rodney Barnes says, "Could Kings first quarter be a look, or will they be gas from last night?" I like.
Yeah. That's a great question. If you're going to take the Kings, you take them early, right? Yeah. Because that's exactly what it is. They'll come out and play. That was a play that I had added on Sack, and it was the reason why I added that play on was because I took the Kings right before the Ja news came out. Right, I took the Kings at -2.5, and then the Ja news comes out. So, like I said, I don't chase my bets or I don't try to buy out of bets, and I'm glad I didn't. Right, but I did take Sacramento first quarter. They lose that, I believe, 31-28. Right, so if you're looking at the numbers here, as a favorite, Atlanta give you 28 points versus the 25 they give you overall. As a dog, Sacramento give you 30 points. As a favorite, they give you 29. And overall, they give you 28. So it's safe to say that when Sacramento's playing as a dog, they're going to score more points. But in this case here, overall right now, Sacramento's the better scoring team in the first quarter. I just lost that first quarter play yesterday, but I do believe this is a better spot to take them early and get in and get out, get your money in out. I do believe they can get it first quarter. But those numbers were drastically different, Jimmy, with Memphis and Sacramento first quarter scoring. And you see what happened. They lost that. So if you like it, take Sacramento early, get in and get out.
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with it at this point. Jiggy Reese says not worried about the rest disadvantage or the back-to-back with Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll comfortably stay off as long as I have more action. Let's find it. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Dallas Mavericks 9-7, 1-4 on the road. Boston Celtics 13-4, 6-1 at home at TD Garden, Boston. Dallas 3-2 over the past 5, playing at the slowest pace in the NBA. It's a little faster than they were playing a week ago, but 95.5 possessions a game over their 5. Boston 4-1, playing at a very fast pace, 103 possessions a game. Start with the line history. Now, there were offshores that did have this out initially, Dallas at +6. We used Pinnacle as our line movement. Pinnacle opened at +4.5, -105. So it has not moved. It did get to 4.5 at +101, but nothing there. From a total side of things, it opened up at 218.5 and has not moved either. This Dallas team 4-11-1 against the spread. They've been costing people money, but winning basketball games. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. Probably got some tickets here. Not even here. 1,134 tickets. I guess it's just Thanksgiving. There's not as much action coming in. 35% of the tickets on Dallas and 41% of the cash. So there is some sharp money on them. And then 42% of the tickets, 62% of the cash on the under. Eddie Euler saying Jason Tatum is questionable. Spending penny bombs on Luka triple-double. Justin McElvey played Dallas +4.5, but not as confident as I was when he bet it. Dallas comes in off their second loss in 3 games, 98-97 at home over the Nuggets on Sunday night. Celtics had their 9-game winning streak snapped in a 121-107 loss at Chicago on Monday night. Take it away for us here, Darryl. Mavs, Celtics.
Yeah, so I saw the same thing. And just like I was saying with the first game in Philly, watch out for this game. If you like Dallas, take them now. If you like Boston, see if Tatum is ruled out. Pay attention to the shoot around on this game and see if Jason Tatum is ruled out from that ankle. That line was as high as 7. I had seen as high as 7 on Tuesday. Right? Some books had it at 7 on Tuesday. Ankles twisted. Wait to see if Tatum plays. He should get up and go. But this line is real tricky to me. I have this total at 222 with the line being Boston minus 6.90. Right? So they should cover. But it's just this one here. I was not going to jump on anything until I knew without a shadow of a doubt what that injury report was going to be like. But if you like Dallas, take Dallas now just in case Tatum's ruled out. If Tatum's ruled out, then that line's going down. He's worth 1.5 points, maybe 2 points. So that line's going to go down. So you get the better of the number, right? If Tatum's ruled in, you might even see it get back up to 5, right? But he is questionable. This is another one. Check that shoot around. See if he's actively participating. Go on the Boston Beat Writers Twitter, and he'll tell you who's at shoot around, who's participating in shoot around. So if he's participating at shoot around, but still a game time decision, don't jump on this right away. Wait to see what the lineups are before you get in on this game. But just in case, I think if you like Dallas, you play it early now because the movement's going to not be on what happens with Dallas's end, but what happens on Boston's end. So if Tatum isn't playing, the line is going down. If Tatum is going to play, you might get another hook or something out of there. So it's too much of a gamble for me. You might want to take this game later on. Me personally, man, I think Boston comes in here and smacks them, right? But it's not something I was confident on until I get that injury report. I know Nasty Nate, Celtics trifecta, right? Celtics is playing some good ball as of late. Dallas, you know, you still got the Don over there, man. Even though they trick off games, you still got the Don over there. So this one here is another hurry up and wait, see what happens with the injury report.
Dinwiddie will be in the lineup, dealing with the shoulder injury. Dinwiddie will be in the lineup for Dallas.
And then Maxi Kleber is doubtful, right? So Dinwiddie can possibly make some line moves or make the line move a little, but not as much as Jason Tatum, right? So we got to see what happens here.
All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Washington Wizards, just like Sacramento, also 10 wins on the year, 10-7, 3-3 on the road. Miami Heat 7-11, 6-4 at home. Don't know what the arena is going to be called, but it's in Miami, Florida.
It's in Miami. It's in Miami.
Going to Miami. Okay, let's pull this up here. Line history wise, we have Miami opening up -2, -108. That -2 is now +102. So there's been a 10-cent move to the Washington Wizards. From the total perspective, opened up at 211.5 and has dropped to 210.5. Miami playing at a very slow pace as well. 1-4 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 96.29 possessions a game. Washington 4-1, playing at a pace of 100.11 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. Just 844 tickets in, 51% of tickets, 53% of the cash on the Heat. 42 and 62 on the under. I think I said that already. My fault. Washington comes in off second straight win, 106-102 at home over Charlotte on Sunday night. Heat coming off their 4th straight loss, 105-101 at Minnesota on Monday night. Dan Kelly says the first of consecutive games between these two in Miami, and Stimmy OG on the under 211. Eddie Euler saying 11 players on Miami injury report. Justin McElvey saying Miami game is a backwood, this motherfucker. Take it away here for us.
Just put whoever said the backwood, bro, for real. You know what my notes say here? Do you see the fucking injury report? That's what my notes say. Like everybody and their mom is out. I'm seeing right now this line is at -1.5, which is leading me to a lot of these guys not playing, whoever were questionable here. There's nobody playing for Miami potentially. Nobody at all. Why would you bet this game? Right, with all these games on the card today, this is one game, man, where I was like, yo, who's playing? Analytics has this game right now. Total 2-11, home by 9.83. I fucking disagree. I didn't even want to cap this game once I saw the injury report. So yeah, man. So this one here is definitely, nah, man. I don't give a fucking shit about this game at all, bro. Not one single bit. Neither should you, Jimmy. Now, if this was the only game on the board that I had to play, and the way Miami's been playing as of late, And if you look at the Wizards, man, they've kind of had some impressive wins, right? They beat Miami already in overtime. They beat Charlotte for what it's worth, lost to OKC. They beat Memphis. They beat Utah. They beat Dallas, right? So they've played some formidable opponents in which they've beaten. So this should be a Wizard spot, in my opinion. But, man, I don't want to put no action on this game when you don't know who's playing at all. But it does seem like money is coming in on the Wizards side to make this line go down a point. So that's leading me to a lot of these guys knowing a lot of these cats aren't going to play tonight.
What about Butler, though? You think all these like stresses, ruled out and all these injuries? Do you think this is the time when Butler comes back? They're back home. He said he was going to miss the last 2 games of the road trip. He did. You think he jumps back into the lineup here?
Man, fuck Butler. I just if Butler plays, how long has Butler been out now? And what do we say about the star theory, the star player theory coming back in the first game? Right? You always fade that team.
It's different though when a team's lost 4 straight. It's different in my estimation because then the star player can come back home, and put them on his back.
Yeah, man. Me personally, I wouldn't even touch this game at all. There's no need to at all. Even if you got Butler there, to me, the Wizards are still going to be better. They can run up and down the court. They got shooters there, and what that's also leading me is that Bill was questionable in this game. Bill might play, right? So if this line is moving the way it is, I trust the line movement here. I trust the line movement. So I would have to take the Wizards here. But yeah, I don't think Butler plays.
He's not being ruled out.
Yeah, I don't like that you've got more people on the injury report than what 2/3 of the team is on an injury report right now. Like, man, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 players on the injury report. Questionable, probable, doesn't matter. So when they come back, they're still not 100%.
Yeah, I hear you. But Butler is not being ruled out. A lot of people saying he's being ruled out. This was when he was planning on being back. So, we'll see. He's not being ruled out at this point. I'm not saying that he's going to be in. And Beal questionable. Gas Report says RotoWire had him ruled out already. No, none of the other sites do. None of them. Roto World, none of them other. But
no, I'm seeing it right here on the official injury report for the NBA. Jimmy Butler out.
Okay.
I'm seeing that Butler is out. I'm looking at the official NBA injury report. He's out.
Okay. All right. Then
that, yeah, we're not going to touch this. I wouldn't touch this with it, man. If this game was on fire, I wouldn't piss on it. This is how. Yeah, come on.
So, but give me the angle of why you don't want the Wizards here, and then we'll move on.
The reason why is how do you, when you have a team that's going to get out there and just put a product on the court, like how can you accurately cap that? Right? Like you don't know what Miami's going to bring. Now, on one end, it sounds like I'm talking out the sides of my mouth, but I've just seen it more often than not that teams who just get out there and play balls to the wall, they end up winning these games. So it's just, to me, like I said, I would take the Wizards here, but I don't know what that product on Miami Heat's end is going to do, and it's just something that I would rather not play at all.
No, I feel you. And Wizards coming off that impressive homestand, now getting out on the road. All right, let's roll out. Next up for us, Brooklyn Nets at Toronto Raptors. Nets 8-10, 4-6 on the road. Raptors 9-8, 6-1 at home. The Raptors, another team with a lot of injury issues. We're at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. Brooklyn 2-3 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 100.7 possessions a game. Toronto 2-3 over the past 5, playing at 99.92 possessions a game. Brooklyn on the second half of a back-to-back after having their modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 115-106 loss at Philly last night. Raptors had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 124-122 overtime loss at Atlanta on Sunday. They're back home. They have rest. It's just who will be available. Toronto opening up at -2, -105, a 7-cent move towards them. From a total perspective, opened up at 221.5 and is now at 222. We go over to the cash flow in this one. We have just 1,000 tickets in. 79% of tickets, 98% of cash on the Raptors, but not moving their direction. 46% of tickets, 98% cash on the over. Just such a small sample size. JPC said, would you rather bet the Wizards Heat game or date a chick with bad feet?
I would rather bet the Wizards Heat game.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Nah, man, you got to have pretty feet, bro.
I'll show you a picture of my girl's feet. Make you fucking dry heave.
Yeah, man, you gotta, man. Oof.
Oh man, my girlfriend's been through the trenches of World War II. Come on, that's what it looks like. Seriously, wearing boots for a year and a half straight. Had to cut them off. Let's go. Brooklyn Nets, Toronto Raptors. Take it away for us, Darryl.
Yeah, I don't like this game at all. So I believe this is a trap game. We got a small sample size, but I think the public is going to smash Toronto. They're going to look at that Brooklyn game and say, oh, Brooklyn just lost to Philly, who didn't have their star players in the game. And here they are. They're traveling, right? So it's a back-to-back travel. We know how we feel about that. Toronto, on the other end, is only -2. So now it seems like an automatic play to take Toronto at -2, now 2.5. I think, and this is just more of theory for me, Jock sat his players out. He waved the white flag early in that game. And we know, even though it's a back-to-back, we know something that KD likes to do, and that's hoop. Right? This line is too low for me to take Toronto here. It is. Because even with the injuries that Toronto has on their sides, what Toronto can do is rebound. Right? That's something that they can do. And so I think they have better length, better bigs, in spite of the injuries, over Brooklyn's end. But there's just something tricky about this game that I don't feel right about this game. I wish this line was higher. Then I would feel comfortable taking Toronto. But the fact that this line is only at 2.5, the books are begging you to take Toronto. Begging you. And Brooklyn's going to come out and win this game tonight. So because Brooklyn did play off a back-to-back, because they did get smacked by a team that they shouldn't have lost by, they could still lose this game as well. But I do have a sneaky feeling here that Brooklyn's going to eke out a win here. But for me, no play on this game here. That's a trap game.
Watanabe revenge, says AOD. Guys, you're playing well. JPZ says, I will fall head first in this trap. Nets are trash.
Ooh.
I hear what you're saying. This is a perfectly set up for the Raptors to be hammered, and Brooklyn could easily bounce back here. Gas Report agreeing with JPZ. All right. God, I don't want to bet against the Raptors, but this feels like the perfect time to do that. The bigs, you talk about the bigs for the Raptors. I mean, this is not. Look, we'll say a lot of nice things about Koloko, and I say tons of nice things about Khem Birch. We've watched Thaddeus Young step up.
I like
here.
Banton.
Well, Delano's hurt right now.
He's hurt, but I like him.
I love him. Yeah, I love him at the point. I love his length. He's absolutely beloved here. He's first ever homegrown basketball player on our team.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he's just we love him.
Yeah, that now of course everybody's gonna. I mean, this injury report is just about the size of Miami's, right? So maybe that could be a situation to where you've got a decimated team. Here's the narrative. You've got Toronto, who's decimated, right? And you've got Brooklyn, who's just on a back-to-back travel, who just lost against a sorry team. Two contrasting narratives there. And it's just, I don't feel safe playing any money, right? So Whatever side you pick, man, I personally believe the Nets should win this game, but it's not enough for me to put money on it.
Well, I think the Nets will win this game.
Mm-hmm.
So
I might get there, to be honest with
for
you.
the first time all year, I'm betting against the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
Canadian Capper in the house. Gas Report says no Curry, no bet. I don't think I need to rush into this, and I'm not going to. I don't think I'm going to be very interested seeing what happens to the line and waiting.
Bro, there's a ton of games to where you're looking at. It's like, wait a minute, these are game time decision games, right? Where you just get into the window as soon as that lineup or that injury report is listed, then you get there. But no.
This is the perfect spot to fade the Raptors, who are 6-1. Dan Kelly says, no way I take Brooklyn. Kyrie's still a distraction. Yeah, no, I get he's still a distraction. Okay. All right, let's move on. No action at this point, but I'm going to fade the Raptors tonight, I expect. And I expect I'll get a better line. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Bulls.
Oh,
7-10.
shoot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to say about that game.
Sure.
That you could probably look at. Last 5, both these teams are 4-1 to the over. Last 5 games, both these teams are 4-1 to the over. So that could be something to look at. All right,
well,
just saying.
The over is being hammered. Well, there's not a lot of bets that have come in on this game, but those who've bet it have moved on that over. 46% of tickets, 98% of cash. It's only gone up a half point at this point.
Yeah, I mean that game was crappy yesterday, and they went over. That was It was 219, got bet down to 217. I think that game closed at 221. So these games can, get you over by 1 or 2 points. You might be sweating it out, but I think if any side of that bet I like, it would be the over.
Gassport says Toronto 3 days off. Why wouldn't you like Toronto? I love capping NBA, and I've just seen this so many times when a team loses to a team that they should beat. Now they're going to go up to Toronto playing against a division rival, but KD and Kyrie won't have near the pressure that they have following them around in America. And they're beat up basketball team. So, Stimmy OG. And Canadian Capper saying, Canadian Capper talking about so much fun on the live stream cast the other day. We're going to do it again tomorrow. 3 games all here on Pub Sports Radio. And I'll be hosting all of them hammered. Let's move on. Next up, 8 p.m. Eastern, Chicago Bulls 7-10, 2-5 on the road. Milwaukee Bucks 12-4, 9-1 at home. We're at Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Chicago 1-4 over their past 5. But that win was impressive over the Celtics on Monday night, 121-107. Milwaukee 2-3 over their past 5, 99.7 possessions a game. Milwaukee won their second in 3 games, 119-111 at home over the Blazers on Monday night. Let's take a look at the line history here with this one. We have the Bulls opening up as 7-point dogs at Pinnacle. We do know it opened up at 8 at some offshores. Now at 6.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 218.5 and it shot all the way up to 223.5. It's gone up 5 points. 5 points. And then cash-wise, we have 1,336 tickets in. 46% of the tickets, 80% of the cash on the Bucks. 85% of the tickets, 88% cash on the over. Wow. Take it away for us, Darryl. Bulls, Bucks.
And it's weird to me that it's went over, right? Because I think a good spot for this game would be the first quarter team total over 25 points. It might be, let's see because that first quarter this one's tricky to me. Milwaukee Bucks is another high scoring team in every facet, whether they're the favorite, whether they're home or away. The Bucks are averaging 31.1 points a game. Chicago Bulls averaging 28.7 points a game in the first quarter. Underdogs, even as underdogs, this is what Milwaukee's lowest total scoring, and that's 28.5. In this case here, when Chicago's underdog, they're averaging 26.5. But that first quarter total is only 55 points. So this is how I got trapped with the Bulls last time. Somebody's going to come out flat. Somebody's going to come out flat because there's no way in hell that you have the Milwaukee Bucks total at 28.5 and you have Chicago Bulls total at 26.5. So to me, if I'm going to take a bet here, it's going to be Milwaukee Bucks team total over 28.5. Only because at home, they're 31.1. When they are a favorite, they're still in the 30s. And overall, they're in the 30s. They're I believe, the second or third highest scoring first quarter team in the league. So instead of looking at a side here, because Chicago Bulls can also put up points in the first quarter, and for a minute, they were kind of really good in the first quarter, even right there with Milwaukee, I could see this game being close in the first quarter. But I do think that the Milwaukee Bucks can score, and it's just something I'm going to look at. Haven't stepped on this yet, only because it's real tricky to me, and I got burned earlier this year with the Bulls because they had the same kind of scoring at the time. I do believe this is a spot Bucks can give you a 30-point first quarter, beating that 28.5. That's the lane I'm looking at here. But other than that, I don't have a play on this.
Yeah, I can't move on and over in any angle of this game after it's gone up 5 points from the opening line.
Very true.
And so Eddie Oiler trying to go underneath it, I get that, but I don't think I would want to get in the way of the steam. And I like the Bucks in first quarters very much against the elite teams in the NBA. That when they're forced, kind of puts show where they stand, which isn't the case when the 7-10 Bulls come to town. So I'm going to be off of it. Eddie Oiler leaning Bucks -6.5. Jiggy Reese saying Bucks been covering this type of number at home all season.
Yeah, I mean, there's cases to be made for it, but you can see, man, I don't know if these guys really like Giannis opposing teams in the league. He's become like this poster child for the league, this goody two-shoes guys. And all these enforcers out here, you saw what happened with we call it Laddergate, Montrezl Harrell. Like, they're really not respecting this guy at all, And between Giannis and Steph probably being two of the most coveted players in the league right now, it just seems like some people have it out for him. So I don't know if this is a game Chicago can really get up for. In my opinion, this is a game that would be close all the way out. I don't see a blowout here at all. But it's just, to me, I think the safest play is to see how they play first quarter.
Well, let's roll on. Next up for us, Denver Nuggets 10-7, 6-5 on the road. Oklahoma City Thunder 7-10, 4-4 at home. We're at Paycom Center, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Denver 2-3 over the past 5, playing very slow, 96.1 possessions a game. Oklahoma 2-3, playing at a pace of 105.6 possessions a game. Oklahoma City opening up as 3-point home dogs, now 3.5-point home dogs. Thunder lost their second straight game, 129-119 at home to the Knicks. On Monday night, from a totals perspective, it opened up at 230. It's up to 232. That's a very high number, but obviously Oklahoma playing at a pace of 105.6 possessions a game is extremely fast. And who's going to dictate pace? If it's them, it goes over. If it's the Nuggets, it goes under. 1,109 tickets in, 60% of tickets, 68% of cash on the Nuggets. It's moved a half point in the direction. 75% of tickets on the over. We don't have a cash flow at this point. Take it away for us, Darryl. Nuggets, Thunder.
You know who's ranked 5 in first half points? Denver. Denver is ranked number 5 in first half points. Like, these guys are still that top team where they score in the first half. Joker hasn't really been there. Denver gives you about 60 points. Away, they actually do better. They give you 59 away, 58 at home. OKC gives you 58 away and 56 at home. Right? So if I had to make a play on this, and this is another lean for me here, and the only reason why I'm not really even interested in Denver right now is because now we've got to get Joker back in his rhythm. Like, they should not have lost to the Pistons. How do you and this is this fuck shit that I be talking about, man, that the NBA be doing. Right? You're listed out due to illness. All of a sudden, right before the game starts, these guys have cleared health protocols. We're going to see if they can play. They get out there and play, and they lose to Detroit. So maybe it's that theory where you fade the star player in this first game back, and that's where you can see it work against a terrible team in Detroit. right? So now maybe you got your rhythm going on here, and this should be a Denver side. The only thing I would look here is Denver first half, because I don't know what Denver is going to give you in the second half. Just looking at the numbers right now, Denver's strongest quarters are their first and second quarters. OKC's strongest quarters are their first, second, and third quarters. So I just think it's one of those games to where Denver can come out. You only got to cover a point and a half. They could win that first half spread, but then you'll see a third quarter run by OKC and maybe close it out later. So I don't want to play this game. I don't want to play this game at all. But I am going to lean Denver first half. I'm probably going to get that route too, because now you've got Joker already having a game under his belt, and now we should see some action here. Denver, like I said, does better away in first half scoring, and Oklahoma does worse at home in first half scoring. So that's just a good enough number for me to jump on Denver. Only -1, knowing that the point variation there is about 4 points. I do like the Nuggets first half, just haven't stepped on it yet.
I think the Nuggets play much better early as well. I know the Thunder are capable of putting up a lot of points in the first quarter, but I feel like they're that youthful team that will keep running and keep coming at you as the game goes on.
Yeah, but Jimmy, remember, there's two specific guys who you could never speed up or slow down. One of those is Luka, and the other is Joker.
Yeah, absolutely. But the Nuggets team with Joker in the lineup, there have been times where I've thought they will, on the road, dictate pace. I know if you remember the 2 times they played the Celtics this year, the 250 points have been scored in both the games. You know, they're huge overs. And I think that the Nuggets first quarter is what's rolling here. I think that Murray and Jokic will look much better and take it to the Nuggets in the first quarter.
Yeah, and if that's the case, I do like the half. Bo, I didn't see the Detroit jerseys yesterday, but I would feel more confident in the early game than the full game for this OKC team. So I do like the first half. I'm probably going to make that a play, but as of right now, no.
I'm going to move on the Nuggets first quarter. I think they're much improved from the third loss in 4 games at home, getting on the road, going to play Oklahoma City. I like it. Okay. I also like the new nickname of Darryl called Quest. I think that
Darryl called Quest.
I like it. Darryl called Quest. Millsy. They're gonna keep that one.
I
flying.
got you, man. I got you.
Like
okay.
That, Darryl called.
Tribe was one of my favorite groups back in the day, bro.
Still is. All right. I'm in. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. So we have 3 games left on the card, and we're hoping to get to college basketball at a quarter after in 6 minutes. 8 p.m. Eastern, New Orleans Pelicans 10-7, 4-4 on the road at San Antonio Spurs, 6-12, 3-5 at home. We're at AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas. And don't forget that we have the Cappers contest show right after this one. Pelicans 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 99.9 possessions a game. Spurs 0-5, playing at the pace of 99.4 possessions a game. Pelicans won their 4th in 5 games, 128-83 at home over the Warriors on Monday night. Spurs coming off their 5th straight loss, 123-92 at the Lakers on Sunday night. Take a look at the line history here for Pelicans, Spurs, and the cash, and then hand it over to Darryl. Line history-wise, Spurs opened up plus 6.5. They're now plus 7.5. From a total perspective, opened up at 232. It's now at 230. I can't believe that they would put up a total of 230 for 2 teams that aren't playing at 100 possessions a game. It's just astonishing.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Let's go over to the cash flow here for this one. 78% of tickets, 93% of cash on the Pelicans, 58% of tickets on the over, but it's dropped 2 points. Take it away for us, Pelicans, Spurs.
Okay, so you ready for this? I
think so.
Are you really ready for my analysis on this game?
Yeah.
Give me New Orleans minus I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is. You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
motherfucking shit here.
Motherfucking shit.
Take it away. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So the total I'm not understanding. Analytics I'm looking at, the data I'm looking at, showing this team will total at 225. But New Orleans wins this game. And it's funny, it's by minus 8.10. 8.10. Where New Orleans is strong is the second half. Where they're strong is the second half. And when they are favorites, man, they score better than what they do overall. They score better away. San Antonio actually does better in the first quarter. They do better in the first quarter. So I would not be surprised here if San Antonio wins the first quarter. There'll be some evening out in the second quarter where Pelicans will pull away like they always do. But then that second half happens, man. People are not being able to concentrate on the game as much. You got Grand Theft Alvarado there who will be able to do some things, steal some balls. You still got Herb Jones, who's lights out. I don't know who's going to stop Zion and Brandon Ingram. And looking at this injury report, man, if you don't know, I'm telling you right now, another pod I was listening to, San Antonio is tanking. They're just doing it very quietly. They're doing it at a level to where the injury report, the guy who doesn't play is generally the guy, it's generally the opponent's best player. So, for instance, I believe it was the Lakers game where they sat out, I can't think of the game right now, but anyways, the way it was explained is San Antonio will purposely sit guys to where they know they have an advantage to give that other team a better advantage. And so they're tanking, but it's kind of more quiet. It's not just out there to where you see guys just sitting for, for obvious reasons. This one here, you've got Pop and this whole organization sitting specific guys on specific games because they know if they have this guy in the game, it could mess it up and they could win this game, right? So they're giving their opponents a little advantage here. Right now, you've got some people who are probable, you've got some people who are doubtful, but I just think the Pelicans in this position is a good spot to win this game and win it heftily. I really do. For what it's worth, New Orleans is 500 at home. Spurs are under or away. Spurs are under 500 at home, right? They're 3-5 at home. New Orleans is 4-4 away. I just don't see any case here to where the way San Antonio's been losing their last 5 games, they're 1-4 ATS. 1-4 ATS. And these are spreads by 8.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9, 6. And it's against the Lakers, Sacramento, Portland, Golden State. So this is one of these games here to where New Orleans should get up and beat these guys easily. They just got too much firepower, too much defense on that team to be able to have this game even be close. So I do like New Orleans. -7, I already took it. I stepped on that early this morning. I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is.
Well, you can get that 7 at -108. I think the under's in play here.
It's high. Yeah, 232. It seems like a lot. And you know me, I leave the totals to you, Jimmy, because I really don't mess with those as often, right? But one thing I know that's not going to happen is that game get to 230. I mean, that it would seem like if I had a better read on totals and knew how to read them, I would take that under as well. But when I just start seeing when I know totals are, I mean, you got sides by half a point and totals by a point, man. I just hate sweating it out. So if it was at 232, I would have took the under. 230, now I'm a little afraid.
Yeah, I still think I'm going to move on it. Under 230. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on it, but the idea that you would put up a 232 with two teams playing under 100 possessions a game is shocking to me.
Mm-hmm.
Pelicans held the Warriors to 83 points on Monday night. The Spurs scored 92, the Lakers on Sunday night. Daby Cab about to join us here for college basketball.
Okay.
I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is from Darryl on the Pelicans -7, -108. Let's get to these last two games. 9 p.m. Eastern, Detroit Pistons 4-15, 1-10 on the road at the Utah Jazz, 12-7, 6-1 at home. Vivint Arena, Salt Lake City, Utah. Detroit 1-4, playing at a pace of 100 possessions a game. Utah 2-3, playing at a pace of 100.60 possessions a game. Pistons on the second half of a back-to-back after snapping their 7-game losing streak in a 110-108 win at Denver last night. Utah had their 2-game winning streak snapped in a 121-114 loss at the Clippers on Monday night. We'll start with the line history here and then move into the cash flow. For the line history, we have the Pistons opening up at plus 11.5, which is where they are right now. It did drop to 10.5, but it's come back to 11.5 from a total situation, opening at 228.5 all the way up to 233. That is wild.
Trouble.
That's just trouble. Wild. Cash wise for this one, 49% of the tickets, 65% of cash on Detroit, 57% of tickets on the under. It's gone up a lot of points. Take it away for us here. Pistons at Jazz.
Yeah. So I didn't step on it, but I do like the Jazz here. And let me tell you why. I was listening to this coach on YouTube, and he talks about offensive and defensive schemes and specifically what the Jazz are doing, and more specifically, what this young coach is doing. So because the big question is, how are these guys winning games? Now, just for trends purposes, right now, last 5, man, Detroit is 4-1 ATS. And on the other end, even though the Jazz are winning games, they did lose against the Clippers, but they are 2-3 ATS. They're 2-3. So Detroit is covering spreads, and they're covering these big spreads at that, right? If you look at Detroit, that was an 11.5 point against that CLV or that closing line, 11.5 for Denver, 10.5 for Sacramento, lost to the Lakers, 10.5 against the Clippers, 4.5 against Toronto. So they are covering big spreads. But let me tell you what's different about the Jazz and going to the head coach. He's running a 5-out. So when you talk about space on the floor, he is using every bit of space on this floor, which is bringing these defenses out. And he's allowing Lauri Markkanen to bring the ball up. So he's allowing his big man to bring the ball up. Now, of course, this isn't anything that a lot of other teams don't do. But what this allows Lauri to do is they are able to set up defense or different actions for different players because you don't have your traditional guard bringing up the ball. And so Lauri himself, he could drive to the paint. He could kick it out to a shooter. When they're running this 5-out and you've got so many lethal shooters on the Jazz team, this is how they're able to win games. And he's being very, very creative, this coach is, on how he's running this Jazz offense. So with that case, I think because the Pistons are young and this is not something that they're really used to, this type of offensive scheme, and because you don't have very many teams effectively doing it as often and as effective as the Jazz, this game gets out of hand for Detroit. But I can't step on Detroit because it's the Jazz in this unique position, and I can't step on the Jazz because Detroit has been covering spreads. The bottom line, man. And so it's just like I can't come to a concrete decision to step on it right away, but I do like the Jazz in this position because I believe they're going to be given some looks that they haven't seen, and Detroit is not going to be able to capitalize on this, or rather Utah is going to be able to capitalize on these looks versus the Detroit Pistons. So this should be a smash spot where you see Jazz win by 20 points, but it's supposed to be like that with other teams, and the Jazz are covering spreads. So yeah, no play for me right now, but this is another lane, Jimmy, in which I'm looking at the Jazz and the Jazz only. Call me crazy. Big ass spread. What do I tell you? Don't be afraid of some of these large ass numbers. This one I'm not afraid of, but I just haven't pushed the button.
I'm not going to get in the way of the steam to the over. I'm not going to get in the way of it, but I think it's shocking that it would have gone up 5 points. And my ROI is not good when I say, oh, that's too high and I play God. So I'm not going to do it here, but I'm shocked. Let's move into the final game on the card before we get into college basketball. LA Clippers 11-7, 5-3 at home at Golden State Warriors 8-10, 7-1 at home. We're at Chase Center in San Francisco, California. Clippers 4-1 over their past 5, playing at a pace 97.30 possessions game, slow. Warriors playing fast 3-2, 102.9 possessions a game. Clippers coming off their third straight win, 121-114 at home over the Jazz on Monday night. Warriors had their 2-game winning streak snapped in an ugly 128-83 loss at the Pelicans. Also on Monday night, take a look at line history here. The Clippers open up as 8.5-point dogs, now 10-point dogs. This total opening up at 222.5, now at 223. 10-point dogs for the Clip Show. 41% of the tickets, 82% of the cash on the Clippers, and the line getting bigger. The book saying, we'll take all your money.
This is crazy.
Then for 54% of tickets, 70% cash on the over. It's gone up a half point. Take it away for us, Darryl. Clippers, Warriors.
So stats on this say the total should be 218, and the line should be Golden State winning by 4.23 points. This line is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. It seems like it should go under. And something that I have noticed about Golden State is that we remember last year we were making major money Golden State third quarters. And that's just not the case this year. Their strongest quarters are actually their first and second quarters, right? In contrast to the Clippers' strongest quarters being third and fourth. If you look at where Golden State ranks on the first half scoring, they're right under Denver. They're right under Denver at 59 points, 59.1. They're another team who does very, very good at home, scoring 61 points even first half. And where are the Clippers? 30th in the league. 30th in the league. They're in last place in first half scoring. They give you 52.8 points, and away they give you 51.4 points. So this is obviously a good spot to where if you like Golden State, you take them first half. Because whatever's happening in the second half, it's not clicking for Golden State. That narrative of them being that steamrolling team in the third quarter is not the case anymore. I haven't made a play on here. Another lean for me here. I'm just waiting to see what this number does because it's still pretty high. Will be Golden State first half. Golden State first half is the look because of how they're scoring in the first half and how Clippers are scoring in the second half. They're flopped.
Now, obviously, no Kawhi, no Paul George. So you need Terrence Mann, Norman Powell, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, Amir Coffey to step up here.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. Wow. Is there anything, or you're going to wait to decide if you're going to make the Warriors official?
Yeah, I'm going to wait for that. Do you have a 4.5 right now on the first half?
I doubt it, but let's take a quick look here if we can get that Warriors first half. Here we go, first half. And no, God, no. 5.5 is the best price we can get you.
So 59, that's still a 7-point difference. I'm going to step on that right now on the show.
All right. Darryl has moved on the Warriors first half minus 5.5, and that is at minus 112, available right now at Pinnacle.
Yeah.
All right. That is our NBA card with our guy. It's Darryl.
I just stepped on that. Yeah.
Let's review all action here. I'm interested in the Hornets if I can get in at 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I still can at this point. Let me just double check. Yeah, I still can. I'm also interested in the Sixers team total under. I see a fall from their great game. Darryl, the first, I don't give a shit what the spread is. The other ones, I don't give a motherfucking shit. This one, I don't give a shit what the spread is. Cavs minus 7.5, minus 110. Darryl's on the Timberwolves first quarter minus 0.5 at minus 105 and Pacers plus 2 at minus 105. We stayed off of Kings, Hawks, and Mavericks, Celtics, and Wizards, Heat. I'm going to move on the Nets. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to move on.
Yeah, that seems like the spot, man.
It'll be the first time I bet against the Raptors all year, and I think it'll be successful. I'm going to move on to Nuggets first quarter minus 1. Then we have the, I don't give a motherfucking shit what the spread is the Pelicans minus 7. I want the under 230 in this one. Pistons, Jazz, no action. And then Darryl is on the Warriors first half minus 5.5. And we'll have all records up in Adam next time Darryl is up. Wanted to give him at least a third show for sample size reasons. Eddie Euler says, thanks, Darryl. Always well thought out analysis.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate that, brother. I really do.
We love you, man. We love you. I love capping with you here on these Wednesdays. Thank you for sharing your hard work with us. Follow our guy Darryl on Twitter at It's Darryl. and know that you're loved, man. We love you dearly. Thank you for rolling with us. Any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Hey, appreciate all you guys, man. I appreciate everybody. Really, really do. When you name names, you get in trouble. But everybody that reaches out to me, man, I appreciate you guys all. Trying to win and make sure I get money in your pocket. Best of luck. If you tell me, let's get this money, man. Y'all be safe on Turkey Day. Be safe. Drink a lot. Be safe. Drink a lot. Be safe.
I love it. I love it. And you can drink right here with me all day and night tomorrow. And if you're with your family, just sneak off, pour yourself a stiff beverage, and hang out with us. Let's move on to college basketball. I've been very successful on the days your guest has joined us, and I'm feeling quite confident right now. 11-6 on the year, 64.7% plus 4.4 units. My ROI 25.88%, average line minus 110, and it has brought me profits all of last week. And let's bring on your next guest. He's been sick. He's fighting a good fight to be here with us. Digging deep. Flu game for our guest coming to us from Dallas, Texas. Please welcome Daby Cab in the house. Cabby, how are you?
Oh, man. I think I learned something, Jimmy. It doesn't matter how bad I feel. Money is the cure for everything. I hit my early bet this morning on Kansas first half, and my throat started feeling better. My head started feeling better. I guess money is the cure for everything.
I don't know about everything, but sickness, sure. Sickness, for sure. I love it. All right, well, let's get right to work. Daby Cab, we picked out 10 games that we are going to attack, and Cab will lead us through the glory. We start 2:30 p.m. Eastern. This game pops off in an hour and 2 minutes. The Maui Invitational, a team our Daby Cab knows very well, the 21st ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders, 4-1 on the year versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. This is all there's one at, I think. One at, but every other game here today on the card is verse. Yeah, one at, one. Every other game will be verse. Here we go. We are in Maui for this one. Let's move right to the line history here for this one. Texas Tech opening up as 1-point dogs, now 2-point favorites. From a total side of things, it opened up at 135, now down to 132.5. We take a look at where the cash lies for this one. Come on, where the fuck are you? Gonna take me a second to pull it up. Annoying. So many games. Okay, it's gonna take me a second to pull it up, but I will pull it up. And maybe a lot of these tournaments aren't listed here because they don't know who is gonna play against each other, and that's just so I'm not gonna force it here. But both teams playing their third game in 3 days. Texas Tech opened this tournament with a tight 76-75 loss versus Creighton before beating up on Louisville, who look atrocious last night, 70-38. Ohio State opened its tournament with an 88-77 loss to San Diego State before beating up on Cincinnati 81-53 yesterday. Take it away for us, Daby Cab, Texas Tech, Ohio State.
So one of the things that's cool about these tournaments is you get opposites, right? This Texas Tech team, 6th nationally in adjusted defense right now, which fits the mold. Last year they were, excuse my voice, guys. It's like Jimmy said, it's a little shit right now, but it'll get better. They were number 1 last year, and they in the year for defense, and in the last 3 years they've been in the top 10 every year. It's what they do. Their big man down low, Bacho, he's been good for Texas Tech. He sets the tone, really, he does. Their transfer, Jalen Tyson, he's been shooting the ball well. And Harmon, the transfer guard from Oregon, he's been facilitating the ball well. This team has picked up, where it left off on defense for sure. Offense has been a little bit slower for Tech. OSU has one of the lowest defensive turnover rates in the country, though. So, like I said, this is strength against strength. Ohio State, on the other side, they're led by their freshmen. They've also got their point guard, Bruce Thornton. I'm going to say that wrong. He's added strength. That's what this is with this guy. Their point guard's physical, which I know you don't hear out of a point guard a lot, but he is very physical. He's added a lot of strength to this team. Their big man, Felix, he's been providing good breaks for their star forward. So Ohio State's retooled also. The thing with this Ohio State is their offense has been humming, but their defense is very, very lackluster. In this game, you've got an extremely good defense against a pretty good offense. I think Texas Tech would be the way that I'd have to lean here. I have not bet it, but I would look Tech. I think that they're their defense is going to show that it is truly one of the best defenses in the country. Whereas Ohio State, I'm not saying they're a bad team, but they're not a top offense in my opinion. And I think that we're going to see that after this matchup.
Interesting. The totals dropped 2.5 points, and Texas Tech has gone from dog to favorite. A move
I think they should be a favorite here.
Move that you agree with. All right, this game pops off in an hour and now 59 minutes. And Texas Tech could be a possible bet here. Let's move on to another game that pops off in 59 minutes. The battle for Atlantis. Dayton Flyers 3-1, Wisconsin Badgers 3-0. We're in Nassau in the Bahamas. Let's go over to the line history here for this one. Dayton, Wisconsin. Dayton opening up as 1 point dogs, now 2.5 point favorites. So we have another flip here. From a totals perspective, opened up at 125, dropped all the way down to 121. Let's see if the cash flow correlates with that. We have 2,181 tickets in, so a legit sample size. 31% of the tickets, 46% of cash on Wisconsin. KD says he's from the Bahamas. We'll be watching this game. Billy Friedrich from Wisconsin. He'll also be watching this game.
There we go.
We have 54% of the tickets on the under and 87% of cash in the 4-point move. So clearly that's gone and passed. But interesting that Dayton would go from dog to favorite here, but the bigger bets seem to be coming in on whiskey. Dayton bounced back from their 60-52 loss at UNLV by beating Robert Morris at home 60-51 on Saturday as 20.5 point favorites. So it didn't look very good. Now they start their first game in the Bahamas. Wisconsin comes into the tournament off their third straight victory, 56-45 at home over Green Bay on Tuesday. And Kadesh saying he likes Wisconsin, says he's got that grit. Johnny Gunn says, I'm a fan of this Wisconsin team. I think they're a dark horse for the tourney. Eddie Euler leaning Wisconsin and the under. Take it away. And Coin liking Wisconsin plus 2.5. Take it away for us here. Daby Cab, Dayton, Wisconsin.
I get the Wisconsin love. I would lean that way too. But there's one reason why I'm not betting this game. Wisconsin hasn't been on the court since November 15th. It's been almost a week since they played. That's it's just too long. They have not shot the ball particularly well this season either. And this is also their first game away from home. So I do agree with what everybody's saying. I also like this Wisconsin team. I think Chucky Hepburn, the preseason Big Ten All-American, who's only averaging 11 points per game right now early in this season, is going to be extremely good for this Wisconsin team. I think this could be the game where we see him turn it up because this is where they're going to need him. Like I said, first game away from home. They haven't played since November 15th. And those are the reasons why I could tell you. And for Dayton, they're coming off a Saturday win where they had a 21-point spread. They won by 9 points. So, there's nothing to that win. And they're only 1-3 ATS this season. Dayton is just not a team that I'm very high on. And I do like this Wisconsin team, but not playing since November 15th and this being their first game away from home, it's just a game that I'm going to have to stay off.
Yeah, I completely understand. And that's obviously the breakdown you gave. 8 days off, first game away from home is the reason why Dayton the flip from dogs to favorites. Let's go back to the Maui Invitational for our next one. This is the big boys going at it. Number 10 ranked Creighton Blue Jays 6-0 versus number 14 Arizona Wildcats 5-0. I don't have a cash flow here at Sports Insights with the, maybe if I refresh. Oh no, I just moved over. Let's go to the line history here for this one. Creighton, Arizona. We have Creighton opening up as 2.5 point dogs. This opened up at 8:30 this morning. There's been no change, no movement. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 163, now at 164. Creighton followed up at 76-75 tournament opening win by defeating Arkansas 90-87 yesterday. Arizona followed up its tournament opening win over Cincinnati by defeating San Diego State 87-70 yesterday. Take it away for us, Daby Cab, Creighton, Arizona.
Okay. This game right here and I know we've had, Gonzaga, Texas, and Kentucky, Michigan State, whatever. This right here, this could be a potential Final Four matchup right here. This is it. These two teams are good. Arizona on that topic, I have Arizona in the top 3. Houston, Arizona, they're my top two favorite teams right now. On the other side, though, Creighton has been proven to be a powerhouse. They're shooting the ball right now, Jimmy, 58.5% from the floor and 50% from beyond the arc. That's absolutely outrageous. And I was against Creighton last night on Arkansas. And we'll talk about Arkansas later on in the show. I'll say this. Arkansas they didn't let me down too much yesterday. They lost for me, but they played tough. Creighton, they're just outrageous right now. Sophomore guard, Ryan Nieberhard, sorry, I just said him, has been playing extremely well. He finished with 25 points yesterday. He was shooting well from outside. He had 5 assists also in the game. Just been outstanding. The one thing that this Creighton team lacks on and that they struggle with, though, is protecting the perimeter. They do not protect the outside shot well, which Arkansas can't shoot from beyond the arc. Arkansas had fucking 0 3-pointers going into halftime yesterday. They were down by 6 going into halftime, which, isn't terrible. But considering the fact that they were 0 from beyond the arc, if they could have just made a couple of their damn threes, would have been a different story for Arkansas. On the other side, Arizona is an offensive juggernaut, okay? They played a very, very good Aztec team in San Diego State, and they proved it. They shot 58.6% from the floor against that extremely good defensive team. Junior Gar, Krisha, I say these names fucked up, has 21 points, 11 rebounds against the Aztecs. Like I said, he's not just scoring, he's getting 11 rebounds also. Absolutely dominant. Creighton, like I said, they've looked good, but I feel like today's the day they meet their match in talent. This Arizona team, I have them as my top 3. So getting a 2.5-point spread, I don't care who it is. I don't care who they're playing against. I think Creighton is great. Creighton took my money last night. I'm here again. I'm going with the Arizona full game 2.5 right here. I don't know how else to say it other than I think Arizona is a top 3 team in the country, and 2.5 points is a beautiful spread. So I'm going to take Arizona here.
If the market had moved, so all I had to do was refresh. So now I have all the cash flow, 1,538 tickets in, 51% of tickets on Arizona, 85% of cash, 29% of tickets on the under, 60% of the cash on the under, and not moving. If this had moved to, it has moved to 3 at a few books. Bookmaker.
Let's get it, boys.
Chris. Interesting. Okay. I was just waiting for a sign from the market that maybe they're concerned as well. I can get you a -2.5 at -110, a half-point move when the big bets look to be coming in on Arizona. I'd like to touch on this total here as well. Now that we have the cash flow up here, the total 163, opening 163, now up to 164, while we have 29% of tickets and 60% of cash on the under. Makes me think that the under is in play. Do you think that these incredible numbers that both teams are shooting from the perimeter could slow down when it's elite on elite?
Hasn't looked like it these last couple games, Jimmy. These two teams shoot, I look for regression, either progression or regression in college basketball, just like I do out of pitchers and for baseball. But and there's no way, there has to be regression with these numbers that there has to be regression. They're just
third game in 3 days too, Daby. Third game in 3 days. You think we might have heavy legs in the second half?
Yeah, I guess the more you say that, the more I could see it. Creighton's deep, though. I'll give Creighton that. They're deep, and so is Arizona. But third day, this is an extremely high total on the third day, though. I agree. I don't hate it, Jimmy. I think the under might be a good play here, especially if you're getting in with that sharp money right there.
I think it's a tricky look. Obviously, you gave us the numbers that they've been shooting from the perimeter, but now you have your third game in 3 days. I'm thinking about it. Well, Daby Cab has made his first official pick on the board here. Arizona -2.5 and -110 has moved to 3 at some books. Let's keep rolling. Next up for us, 5 p.m. Eastern, we go back to the battle for Atlantis. BYU Cougars 3-1 USC versus USC Trojans, also 3-1. We're at the Imperial Arena here in Nassau. BYU comes in off a comfortable 87-73 home win over Nicholls State on Saturday. USC followed up a 59-57 home win over Vermont as 10-point favorites by beating Mount St. Mary's 83-74 at home as 16-point favorites. 2 very underwhelming victories. Let's take a look at the line history here for BYU USC. And I should have already pulled it up here. I apologize. Here we go. USC opening up as 1.5-point dogs, now 2-point dogs. From a total scenario, opening up at 143.5, dropping to 149, but it went down to 138.5. So there's been buyback from that 138.5. When we go over to the cash flow in this one, just 529 tickets in, 62% of the tickets, 87% of the cash on BYU, market moving towards them. 56% of tickets on the under. We don't have a cash flow number, but we've seen this moving all over the place. I find it USC's had 2 very underwhelming victories. I can't wait to hear your breakdown on it. Take it away, BYU, USC.
Out of all the games that we're looking at today, the 2 that least interest me because of what I said about Wisconsin, their spot, and then this one here, because USC to me, led by Boogie Ellis, and then they got Drew Patterson. This team has so much potential, but with that first game loss, 74-61 to Florida Gulf Coast, then they barely beat Vermont 59-57. USC has just not looked right. But I know the players that they have, and I know the talent that this team does have. On the other side, BYU has looked like a better team. They've got the 1 loss. They're coming off, but it was against San Diego State, which we all know about San Diego State this year. They've made some noise. The Aztecs play great defense. But like I said, I don't have too much on this one just because I know that I lean with USC because I know their players, Jimmy. But I can't put money on a USC team right now that struggled every time they stepped on the court for the most part. I just know that they have the more talented roster. And since that first loss, they haven't lost. They shot 47.3% last game, which is more what I expect out of them. 47.3% is a lot closer to what I expect out of this USC team than what we've been getting. So I lean USC here, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah, 2 very underwhelming victories from USC, and now they go down to the Bahamas, and we're supposed to think that something's going to change. So what is your main, give me your main point on not trusting BYU here?
There's no depth on this team. This BYU team just doesn't have enough depth for me. If I was going to trust BYU, I'd lay it in the first half with them.
Feels like the Sharps are here on BYU, and
I mean USC is nothing but a fade right now. I know that it sounded like because I said I'd lean USC. This is one of those ones where it comes down to the players on USC's team should be doing better than they are, but they're not, and so I can't get behind them right now.
Yeah, I'm interested in moving on BYU. Billy, we just don't have the time right now to get into that question, but I will copy and paste it. Because it's worth talking about. But right now,
my live betting ROI has been these live shows that we've been doing, Jimmy. I don't know if you heard when I was talking about this last time, but I told everyone in the chat, I was like, man, I enjoy the hell out of them because I'm making money for the most part out of them. Like my ROI is very good in the live betting shows.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I only put 1,000 in my Bet365 account, but it's at 2,260. So
beautiful.
I've more than doubled it. I've 9 of the last 10. So I know that we're not talking about a lot of money, but once you start building up the confidence, then you can move. The unit size has gone from $50 to $75 to $100, and I'd like to keep moving it up here. But yeah, no, it's because I know what it's when you're alone. You're like, okay, that's too big of a swing, or I'm betting it. But when you're with everybody talking the game out, you have all the great cappers in the chat. You have your guests on the screen. Like, of course, we are going to keep winning. We're just going to keep winning and keep winning.
They hold us accountable, Jimmy. Having people there hold us accountable. So like it's for me when I went into that TCU Baylor game, I said, whoever scores this game should come down to the last possession. Whoever scores first, we go on the opposite side. Like we had an angle going into it. And, when you see it happen, you see somebody get the ball shoved right down their throat, you're scared to jump on them. But the truth is you have to stick with what you capped before. And the chat helps hold us accountable to that. At least they have for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. But what was happening to me earlier was when I didn't come in with a strict plan, I was losing. That's changed now. Just knowing that you don't have to have a plan if you're listening and talking everything out. But it helps to come in with a plan. But now, even without a plan, I've been succeeding. I'm very excited about tomorrow. I'm extremely excited about it, because I'm succeeding so much live, it makes me not feel any pressure to go in before. I made 7 bets in NFL and none so far on the Thursday games. But let's keep rolling. We got Daby Cab. We got to keep rolling. Next up for us, the Fort Myers tip-off here at Suncoast Credit Union Arena in Fort Myers. Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 3-1 versus the Marquette Golden Eagles. Let's take a look here and get all of our information for our line history and everything here. This will just take a second to pull up. It's taking me a second there. Let's move over just to the line history, though, for this one. Marquette, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech opening up as 5.5 point dogs, now 7-point dogs. This total has gone from 142 to 145. So the total is going up, and the move is going towards Marquette. Just 466 tickets in. 60% of tickets, 93% of cash. 74% of tickets, 77% of cash on the under. One thing I do want to mention about this, though, is that what we've seen now with the NFL market is it gets sharper and sharper and sharper as the season goes on. This college basketball, the first 3 weeks, month, all the non-conference tournaments, you're going to find real edges if you've done your homework in the offseason. And that's why we bring on cappers like Daby Cab, who's done that homework, and so we can hear from them. Whereas, when they get into conference play, the lines are going to get really sharp, but they're not sharp yet. Week 12 of the NFL, lines are fucking sharp. It's why you hear Pete Loshak he doesn't bet baseball when it gets to the playoffs. Things just start getting too sharp, But when everybody was complaining about how sharp the lines were in baseball in the end of the year, we were just, we went on our biggest run of the season. So I don't fully believe it. But let's go back to the spot. Georgia Tech had their season opening 3-game winning streak snapped in a 68-64 loss here to open their tournament as 5-point dogs. Tech lost to Utah despite turning the ball over 5 times. Utah had 19 turnovers and still beat Georgia Tech. Marquette comes in off their second loss in 3 games, 55-58 or 58-55 here to Mississippi State. But the idea that they could lose a basketball game while winning the turnover battle 19-5 is shocking. Absolutely shocking. Take it away for us, Daby Cab. Georgia Tech, Marquette.
The way you're saying it is just flashing it, but their offense is terrible, Jimmy. That's how they lost it. Georgia Tech's offense is not good. They're averaging 71 points per, which is 227th in the nation. The only reason they've even stayed in games, and you talk about a turnover battle, they are 46th in the nation scoring defense. Miles Kelly has been good for them on offense. He's scoring 11.8 per game. And then you got one other player averaging double digits in Coleman. So this team only has 2 fucking players averaging double digits. And one of their guys averaging double digits is, they're sitting at 11.8. It's not like we're not talking about 16, 18 points here. We're talking about like 11.8. They don't have anybody that scores. Marquette, sorry, I have an awful name that I call this team all the time, Marqueef. But anyways, led by Tyler on offense and Oliver Prosper, they've been up and down. 3-2 this season. They're averaging 79.2 points per game. That's putting them at 92nd nationally. The Golden Eagles are slightly above average on defense, scoring 100. They're at 145th scoring defense. But for me, this game comes down to Georgia Tech's offense and who these teams have played. Georgia Tech's offense, it's just not good. And I think Marquette is going to be able to just run this team off the court. Maybe early Georgia Tech's defense can keep this game close, but by the end of the game, I don't see any reason why Marquette's not up by 10 points or more. I haven't bet them. I've got a couple bets. I have 3 bets in college basketball today. One of them just went off. I tweeted them all out earlier. First thing this morning, I tweeted them out. I have 3 bets, so another one coming up. This one was a pretty big lean for me, but the lines moved since I was looking at it. When I capped it, it was, I think, 5. You said it was 2-point move, right?
Yeah, 5.5 to 7 at Pinnacle.
Okay, yeah. I'm not chasing a 2-point move. I just don't do it. As much as I'd like to have 5, 6, 7 bets on the card, if I only have 3, I only have 3.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's keep rolling. I guess it's a stay off spot there. Next up, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Back to the battle for Atlantis. Butler 3-1. Up first, number 22 Tennessee Volunteers 3-1. We're back in Nassau. This opened Butler as 8-point dogs, now 6.5-point dogs. This total opened up at 137 and has dropped to 134.5. Move this over here. We have Butler coming in off an easy win over Citadel, 89-42 on Saturday. Tennessee followed up its disappointing 78-66 loss at home to Buffalo by beating up on Florida Gulf Coast 81-50 a week ago. So they've had a week of practice, which will probably help the squad. 680 tickets in, 40% of tickets, 44% of cash on Tennessee, but line moving towards Butler. And then you have 62% of tickets, but 57% cash on the over. So some sharper bets on the under in the books. A little concerned about it. Take it away for us, Daby Cab, Butler, Tennessee.
I agree with that under. So this game is one of those ones where it's like, if you're not watching, which thankfully I watch. I mean, obviously I can't watch every game, but I watch as much college basketball and college football as I can. Literally, I watch as much as I possibly can, whether it's highlights or going back. Butler's numbers are great. Right now they've got two players, Jaden Taylor and Simus Lukusis, if I said that correctly, who each average 18 points, and they both looked good. Butler's last victory, they both had 18 points in that game. Butler put up an average of 83.8 points per game this year so far, which is good for 42nd in the nation in scoring offense. And they're 35th in scoring defense. So you're talking 42nd in the nation in scoring offense and 35th in scoring defense. It's a well-rounded team. They're led by Chuck Harris. He's leading the team with averaging 15.8 points per game. They're shooting 53.1% from the field, which is good for 8th in the country. So all of that sounds outstanding, right? Absolutely outstanding. My problem with Butler is they have not played anybody. Okay. The best team that they've played is Penn State. And, they only scored 62 points on Penn State. Okay. So the one decent defense that they played against, they only put up 62 points on. Tennessee on the other side, they're only putting up 70 points per game also, which is 175th in the nation. But they excel on defense, ranking 31st in the country, only allowing 57 points per. There's depth to this Tennessee team. This is just a tough cap for me as far as a side. I would lean under because I think that defense prevails for both of these teams. Both of these teams have a good defense. I don't see any reason why the defense don't show up. Butler on the other side, I don't see how they keep shooting 53.1%. I think that's based on who they've been playing. And this is their chance to prove me wrong, which is why I'm not betting it. Because maybe it's true. Maybe those numbers ring true. Maybe Butler is that team this year, but I don't see it with what I saw against Penn State.
Yeah, I can understand the trepidation here. Butler looks like a public dog move made to 6.5, but some of the bigger bets have come in on Tennessee. Tennessee, after smashing Florida Gulf Coast after losing to Buffalo, gets a chance to practice for a week. And then the total, which I would like the under as well, it's already moved from 137 to 134. So let's just move on. Next up for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Cayman Islands Classic. LSU Tigers versus Kansas State Wildcats. We are in Georgetown in the Cayman Islands. Kansas State opening up +1 -108. Still there, +1 -110. When all of the big bets have come in on Kansas State, 4-1 against the spread thus far. This total opened up at 139.5, has dropped to 137.5. Jake Burns saying LSU. Right now, in this spot, we have 63% of tickets and 98% of the cash on Kansas State, which is wild. 75% of tickets on the over, but just 50% of the cash on that over. LSU's opened their season with 5 straight comfortable wins. They opened this tournament with a 77-61 win over Illinois State before defeating Akron yesterday 73-58. Kansas State opened their tourney with a 77-57 win over Rhode Island before defeating Nevada 96-87 in overtime yesterday. They've had much tougher opposition. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, LSU, Kansas State.
Man, how about this LSU team coming out with so many question marks this season? So many question marks. They've come out like they have something to prove. This team has come out aggressive. The last 2 games, and this is something I always talk about defense. Defense travels anywhere you go. It doesn't matter. The last 2 games, they've held their opponents to 40% from the field and 30% from 3. Under 30%, 40% from the field and under 30% from 3. That's outstanding. On their offensive side, Adam Miller has been great from deep for them. KJ Williams has been outstanding. Just absolutely outstanding and fun to watch. I think this LSU defense is for real. Kansas State, they barely won their last game. Noel had to score that layup with no time left to send them in the overtime. But they did shoot 52% from the floor and 41% from three. But they're going to need a lot more offense here against this LSU team because, like I said, this defense for LSU is savage. I think the early thought and the reason why big money is coming on K-State is because there were huge question marks coming into the season for LSU. But I think Williams and Miller and just this team has answered it. They've shown that they're here to play for real. I think their defense shows up here. I think -1 is a good number with LSU. I might get to the window on this one. I will tag you and tweet it out if I add this to my card. I lean LSU here. I'd go against the Sharps on this one.
But the line's not moving. The market doesn't seem to show any fear that money's coming all in on Kansas State.
Because LSU is a better basketball team.
I have interest in LSU, but I'm going to need a little bit more time. That game pops off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We got to move quickly here. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Next up, the Cancun Challenge Riviera Division. Number 13 ranked Auburn Tigers 5-0 versus Northwestern Wildcats 5-0 at the Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya in Cancun for this one. Let's move over to the line history here in the Auburn game. We have Auburn at some offshores opening up as 6-point favorites. Pinnacle as well have moved to 7-point favorites. The total opened up at 135, has dropped to 134. And when we move over to where the cash lies for this one, I thought I just had it up here. Let me just give me one more second here. Will Auburn show its fucking face? I'll look for it here. I'll pull it up in a second, but why don't you take it away here? Auburn hasn't been tested this year. They come in off an easy 85-64 win here last night over Bradley. Northwestern similarly won all 5 games this year comfortably. They come in off a 66-52 win here yesterday over Liberty. Take it away, Daby Cab.
Okay, so you're right. They haven't been tested. And by the way, I do tweet it out for anybody because I know for show purposes we'll take whatever line's available, but I always tweet out my plays in the morning and tag Pub Sports Radio in it. I think that this line has moved because I got first half on Auburn at 2.5, which probably is not available anymore. But let's get into it. Auburn they're deep. They've got depth. Okay, they've got the sophomore forward Brome, however you want to say his name, the guard Wendell Green Jr. And then the junior guard KJ Johnson, who's been coming off the bench just absolutely electric. The senior forward Jalen Williams and the senior guard Allen, from top to bottom, bench players, starters, Auburn is that team this year. They just haven't been tested, right? They have a top 25 defense and a top 15 offense, and I think those numbers will stay true. On the other side, Northwestern has been legit. They're holding opponents to only 53.4 points per game and 33.3% shooting, which is outstanding. Problem is they've been playing slow games, and Auburn's not going to do that. Auburn's going to push the pace. Northwestern wants these games to be low-scoring games, and that's what they've been caught in, which is why you see this total sitting here at 135, because that's what Northwestern's going to have to do. If they want to even be in this game, they're going to have to slow the pace down against Auburn. So we'll see if they're able to do that. But the like I said, the Wildcats, their defense is 16th in the nation. So Northwestern's defense is good, but their offense is just 125th, averaging 69.8 points per, shooting 41.7%. When we look at Auburn, I know I said top 25 offense and top 15 defense. I know that their defense stays true. How good is this offense is the question that we're going to see here against this Northwestern team. And I don't think this Northwestern team is the team to challenge Auburn defensively. Auburn is tall, they're lanky, they're long. This team is very physical. I think that Auburn wins this game handily. That's why I took Auburn first half -2.5 here. And that's what I got.
Yeah, that certainly beat the line move. There's even a 7.5 on the board. First half right now, if you wanted Auburn to lock in, we would. Sorry, here. God, log games. -3.5. So
let's do it.
You still want
to? My money is on 2.5, and what I tweeted out is 2.5. But let's do it for the show purposes. because I want some action. I want some action here with you guys. And I think that Auburn's up by anywhere from 6 to 12 points at halftime. So I know that's kind of a wide range, but
you got it, Cab. You are locked in. Auburn first half -3.5, -115. 2 games left before we get over to the Cappers contest show. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Back to the Fort Myers tip-off over to the Beach Division. Utah Utes. We talked about their 68-64 win over Georgia Tech when they were out. When they 19 turnovers. They lost the turnover battle 19-5. We're at Suncoast Credit Union in Fort Myers. Mississippi State opened their tournament with that 58-55 win over Marquette as 3.5-point favorites, so they barely didn't cover. We've seen a big move towards Mississippi State here, market-wise. I guess not that big. It did get to 6.5, so it opened at -5, got to 6.5, has come back to 6. From a total perspective, it opened up at 126.5 and has dropped to 125.5. When we get over to the cash flow for this one, let's get it up. Utah, come on, where are you? Utah, Mississippi State, just 390 tickets in, 59% of tickets on Mississippi State. That's the only thing they've given us because the ticket count's so low, but market moving towards them. Take it away for us, Cab. Utah Utes, Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Okay, this Utah offense is not good. 233rd right now in scoring offense at 70.8 per game. Defense, they've been good, 27th in scoring defense, only allowing 55.8 points per game. Utah's led by Brandon Carlson, who's averaging 15.6 per, followed by Gabe Madison. He's the only other player in double figures. I was talking about this earlier. I don't like it when teams don't have multiple people on the court who can score, and Utah is one of those teams that does not have multiple shooters. Utah right now is shooting 44.7% from the field, 34.7% from beyond the arc. Just not much offensively from this team, and I don't see where they're going to get it. I don't see anybody, like who was I talking about earlier? USC. I don't see who's going to do it for Utah. Whereas USC, I see players where it's like I think they should come through. On the other side, Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, they're 237th in the nation in scoring offense. Okay, so both of these teams suck on offense, but they rank 4th in the nation on scoring defense, led by Smith, who leads their scoring for them at 15.6 per game. Both of these teams have about one player who can score, and that's about it. Both of them have very good defenses, however, and in a game where defenses reign supreme, in a situation like this, since both teams struggle scoring, I would look under even with the number at 124.5, which is extremely low.
Do you think that Utah managing to still win that game, although turning the ball over 19 times, that was their first game of the tournament? So, they get down to Fort Myers, they look terrible. Do you think that might be a sign that this is a quality basketball team that will be much, much better in their second game of the tournament? And that maybe we're getting them, at a discount because they looked so bad in that first. I mean, we haven't seen them. I guess they lose to Sam Houston, who looked really good this year. I guess they haven't proven anything to us.
So they haven't proven it. Their defense has been good, and I'm not worried about their defense. We talk about progression or regression. There's really not much room for regression. So if you think that their offense might start progressing, then Utah would probably be a good look in this spot right here. Completely predicated on Utah progressing. If you think Utah's going to progress in shooting, which is the only way that I think they could go, then yeah, I think Utah could be a play here.
And play a much cleaner basketball game. I think that we're not asking them to win at this point. We're just asking them to cover. The problem is that Sam Houston game kind of sticking out, but why would Mississippi State be able to beat them by margin when we know the total is so low? I'm thinking of moving on Utah. I've got time to figure that out. Let's talk about the final game here on the board for us, and it is a big one. We close with the bang. Number 9, 9th ranked Arkansas Razorbacks over at the Maui Invitational. 4-1 on the year at the number 17 ranked San Diego State Aztecs. Both teams come off their first losses of the year yesterday. Arkansas opened their tournament by beating up on Louisville, who's terrible, 80-54, before falling 90-87 to Creighton. San Diego opened their tournament with an impressive 88-77 win over Ohio State before losing 87-70 to Arizona yesterday. We'll go over to the line history. Arkansas opening up at +1 at -108. They're now +1 at +101. So let's look at the money line. Opening up at -103, now at +107. And that move, they were -110 at 139. So we're talking 35 minutes ago. They're now +107. From the total side of things, opening up 142.5 over to 144. Let's move over to the cash for this final game here. We have 1,033 tickets in. So we have a sample size. 56% of the tickets, 65% of cash on Arkansas. Then you have 50-50 on the total, but 64% of cash on the under. So some sharper bets on the under, and Arkansas being backed, but the line moving towards San Diego State. Take it away for us, Daby Cab. Last game on the board, Arkansas, San Diego State.
Jimmy, you just had a handful of people that got their heart punched out. Kansas just lost, or they won the game, but they just lost the spread to North Carolina State on a 3 with 1.5 seconds, and it was a pointless 3. Kansas won by 6, but that last shot that North Carolina State took covered the spread. So I'm sorry, anybody who had that full game. I'm sorry. But okay, let's move on. Arkansas looked good the second half of that basketball game last night. They looked really good the second half against Creighton. First half, not so much. They were only down by 6, and they had 0 shots from beyond the arc. Now, Arkansas does struggle shooting threes, but come on, 0? Like, they should have some, right? And they did. The second half, they started shooting. Anthony Black, he's that guy for the Razorbacks. He's a lot of fun to watch play. He had 26 points last night. He can shoot it. He can drive. He facilitates the ball well. He passes the ball well. And he's a lot of fun to watch play. They've also been great defensively. Arkansas is only allowing 54 points per game right now per contest. And we know that San Diego State can play defense. They're only allowing 67.8 points per game. So both of these teams' defenses are turned. Darion Trammell has been great for the Aztecs. He had 21 points last game for them. He's really their main scorer. Here's the thing with this San Diego State team. What I worry about with them is how are they going to keep up the scoring? Because they've had a good defense in years past. That's nothing new. We're not shocked by San Diego State having a good defense. What we're shocked by is the fact that they've been putting up the points this year that they've been able to put up, because in years past they haven't been able to do that. I have a heavy lean to Arkansas here. I like this Arkansas team a lot. I was on them last night and I got burned. And I don't know if I'm ready to come back to them right here. But even though I got burned last night on Arkansas, I still thought they played a good basketball game, which is a tough thing to stand up here and say because we don't like saying that when we lose a bet, right? But they still played a good basketball team. They're a good team. They need to work on their outside shooting. I think San Diego State is due for regression. The progression and regression is the biggest thing. I think shooting-wise, San Diego State's due for regression. So, yeah, I look Arkansas here. Haven't bet it.
Great work, Daby Cab. 10 games broken down for you. We got to head over to the Cappers Contest Show. Let's review action here in NCAA basketball. I have some interest in Texas Tech, but I don't think I'm going to get to the window. It starts in...
Canada's going to get this fucking penalty. Canada is going to get the penalty. So...
nuts
chance. And by the way, yeah, Canada's going to boss Belgium right now. Belgium has a midfield of a 33-year-old against this fucking young Canada squad. No chance.
Jesus, I got to get this game on right now. Let's review action here in college basketball before we get to the Cappers Contest Show. I got to see this here right now. Oh my God. I thought that we'd get a better number at plus 150. All right, here we go. Penalty kick in the World Cup. Unbelievable.
Jonathan David's taking it.
Yeah,
no, that's Alphonso Davies. Just kidding.
Oh, is it Alfonso?
Alphonso Davies versus the best goalkeeper in the world, Thibaut Courtois. This is for all of Canada here. If he makes this, we're opening the next show with Canada's national anthem. Sung by me, because I know the words.
Just whenever you don't know the words, just do it.
Oh, Canada. Oh,
Hold on, Dabby. He's got to
Canada.
make the kick, Dabby. He's got to make the
I
kick.
played on a baseball team in Canada.
Oh.
We had to do the national anthem and then the Canadian national anthem every game.
Okay. All right. He did not score. Okay. God damn. So nothing for Dayton, Wisconsin. Cab is on Arizona. -2.5. I'm interested in the under. I'm going to move on BYU. Georgia Tech, Marquette, no action. Butler, Tennessee, no action. LSU, I think I'm going to move on with a little bit more time on it. Cabs on Auburn, first half -3.5. I'm also going to move on Utah to cover. And then Arkansas, San Diego State, we have stayed off. So I thought you said you have 3 looks. You have Auburn, first half -3.5.
Sorry, Jimmy. I tweeted out 3 this morning. Kansas first half was one of them.
Okay.
I might join you on LSU, though.
Say what?
I might join you on LSU.
Okay, well, let me know. Hit me with a tweet if you want to make it official. Excellent work. We got to jump over to the Cappers contest show, but I love it, Daby Cab. No show for us tomorrow, so you have tomorrow off. Just football for tomorrow here. We're going to do all 3 games live, but great work, Daby Cab. Looking forward to spending the year capping with you. You can catch Daby Cab right here with me every Wednesday and Thursday, and I'm really excited about having you. Thank you for making the time for us. It means a ton. And looking forward to see how much money we make this year, my man.
Let's get it, Jimmy. Let's get it, man. Thank you for having me. Shout out to the chat. You guys go kill it. I'll be in there in the chat in the Cappers contest.
Before you go, this Friday, Daby Cab and Razor Sharp Picks will be focusing their main game on Florida State Friday at 7:30. So back to college football. And then Saturday, Michigan Wolverines, Ohio State Buckeyes. So that'll be the live bet streams for Daby Cab this weekend. Daby Cab, thank you so much for sharing your hard work with us. Let's go get that paper, my man.
I'm out, Jimmy. Thank you.
There he is, Daby Cab, fighting the good fight. All right, we got to head over to the Cappers contest. Hopefully we can start the Cappers contest in 3 minutes. So let's plan on that. We'll plan on starting in 3 minutes at 2:15. Join us right there in 3 minutes. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Shout out to all you guys. TJ, Mizzy, AOD, Billy Friedrich, Bo Jackson, Spenny Penny Bombs, Coin, Andrew G, Kevin K, Damon Santori, Viper. All you guys, thank you for your support. Dav Fenn, Bananas and Grapes, Nunya, Isaiah Scurry, Jake Burns. Thank you. Justin McElvey, Dom Play. Thank you. Meet us over for our big Cappers contest show here in 2 minutes. Let's go get that fucking cash. Leche. Hey, Los Bookmakers!